Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox got another outstanding outing from Garrett Crochet yesterday. They beat the Braves in Atlanta 3-1. Crochet allowed 1 run and struck out 12 in 7 innings to pick up the win.
You know, he told me, let's keep going. And, you know, I was fired up. I was just hoping it wasn't for Harris only. You know, it's like, if you're going to send me back out, like, let me go to work. And he did. And a lot of props to AC for having trusted me there.
You got a boost on offense from Trevor Story, who followed up a long homer on Friday night with a 3-run double in the first inning. The Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Braves. They're back home to play the Angels tonight. Sox also made a handful of roster moves yesterday, none of which including top prospect Roman Anthony. Nick Sogard was sent to Worcester. Reliever Justin Slayton was placed on the injured list, and catcher Blake Sabol designated for assignment. Outfielder Nate Eaton and reliever Luis Guerrero were both called up. In other baseball news, Colorado lost their 8th in a row yesterday, 5-3 to the Mets. They are 9-50. It is the worst major league record through 59 games in the last 125 years. The Stanley Cup Finals begin Wednesday night with Florida visiting Edmonton, and the NBA Finals begin Thursday night in Oklahoma City with the Thunder set to host Indiana. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that. Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fat and having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Aloha. I gotta go pee.
You know how I feel about all you guys?
Bonjour, Mr. Hartenstein.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. You can watch us on YouTube. Just search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube and subscribe. You'll get us live. You'll get Joe Murray live. You'll get the other shows, the great clips from them, Ty Anderson, all the guys that write for us, Alex Barth. Videos all over the place. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend.
Fantastic then. Thank you. How was yours?
It was good. I saw the band Block Party at the MGM Fenway. That venue is something else. Holy moly.
Is it? Did you like it?
I mean, it's really, really nice. It's like so nice. It's weird. There's like a rooftop deck bar. There's two seated balconies where people stayed seated.
They didn't stand up and ruin my night.
There was 5,000 capacity for that place.
Are you at that point for most shows now where you're, why don't you sit down?
Unless it's like something like magical is happening, yeah, I'd just prefer to sit down.
Yeah.
But I don't mind going to a show and standing. Like I didn't mind going to the Paradise and standing. But if there's seats,
Right. Perfectly good seat here.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I'd rather be in a seat center stage than right in front, especially unless it was a band I absolutely was like obsessed with.
So the last show that I went to, I have really good seats, like second row center. And I realized after the fact, this is nowhere near the best place to hear the show. As you know from years of going to shows, 12, you do too. John, I don't know if this was the case for your New Jack Swing concert days. Mm-hmm. Best place to hear a show, get as close to the mixing board as you can.
And then to the left a little bit for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I was like way too close. Now, if you're going to like a whole one of your acid rock shows, Fred, then, it's going to be loud regardless. But you actually, the last show is that I was hearing the amplifiers on the stage before they were being picked up by the mics and put out through the PA. Like, this isn't right. This is not how I'm supposed to be hearing this. So you don't want to be too close.
Yeah, then you're really parsing. Then you're saying, I'm hearing the amps before it goes over the PA.
It's not the right mix, Fred.
It's not the right mix. It's not. But I'll tell you, they had a light show that was lights on either side of them, behind them, and they had signs all over the place to be careful because there was all these blinking lights.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think they're permanent signs. They were just, and they had like blinking, like you could never see the band. It was just like this cacophony of blinking lights behind them and to the side. Like it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. There's something about British bands. They love being drowned out by light, if that makes any sense. You would think that the light you'd be able to see them, but that was not the case. And then it was another show where I recognized 3 songs. Apparently they were playing an album. They didn't play it in order. And then I didn't, no, they didn't play the album in order because I didn't, and then I didn't know what was going on.
I've never heard that. I've never heard of that.
I've had that happen with one other band where we're going to play this album, and then they just like they split it up, like they play part of it and then they play part of another set, and then it's not good.
So there's Block Party. I don't know how many albums they have, but there are 2 of their albums one of their albums, number 4, is called Number 4, is one of my favorite albums by any band of all time. And Silent Alarm is a really good album that I've heard a million times. I don't. It said the 20th anniversary of Silent Alarm, but I don't think that meant they were playing Silent Alarm all the way through. And I know they didn't play it in order because the first song on that album is like a really well-known song, and they didn't play it until very late in their set. So I'm sick of seeing bands where I don't know all the songs. That much I can tell you. I don't know why it happens. I don't know why they insist on doing it, but I don't know.
All right, so this is the other thing I don't like. If a band is going to do an album, start to finish, and then play some other songs, because most albums are, 45 minutes runtime?
Yeah.
Do you want them to play the album first, or do you want them to play their other songs first?
The album
first.
Album first. So Weezer, when they did their Voyage to the Blue Planet tour, I looked at the set list and I just double-checked it. They open up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because they got to play Pork and Beans and Beverly Hills, the 5th and 6th songs of the set.
I went to the Garden for that. I left.
Total garbage. Island in the Sun. Garbage. And then they got into the Blue Album. And I'm not going to see Weezer do the Blue Album anyway, but if I did, I want them to go out on stage, play track 1 from the Blue Album, play it all the way through, and then play all that other stuff, and I'll decide if I want to stay.
That's what we were expecting, and it didn't happen, so we left. Because I'm like, we've seen Weezer 18 times. This isn't worth hanging out for on like a Tuesday night. Get out of here.
Good for you. Now, the ones who did it right, of course, were Gin Blossoms.
Of course.
When they did New Miserable Experience, and they came out on stage
and stopped immediately and said good night, and then the crowd went, "Oh, thank God, we didn't have to sit through that."
Opened up with Lost Horizons, right into Mrs. Rita, and you boom, 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 boom. You do the album, and then you do, some of the songs for the Cash fans,
right?
You know who I'm talking about. Over to my right.
You're pointing at Fred.
Yes. Yeah. But open up with the album. That's how you do it. And play it in order, which they did. Mm-hmm. It was a really good show.
I'm looking at what they played, and it looks like they played they played it all herky-jerky. And if it's not in order, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't recognize any of these songs. So there you go.
Were you out both nights or just Friday?
I went out Saturday night too. I went out Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It was an untold amount of culture for me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a real big deal. I went to a place on Saturday that had dollar oysters in the city. I went to the city, the city of Boston.
Dollar oysters. This look at this guy over here. He used to be 10-cent wings. Now he's dollar oysters.
Yeah.
Can't hide money.
That's right. Living life, getting all horny. I wanted to get horny.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, that's well. You've never heard of that, Jonathan? They're a very sexual,
Yes.
sexual thing. I know it doesn't. You love cantaloupes,
Yeah.
with microwave with a hole in them, but that's what gets you all jazzed up. This is what I was doing.
That's a self-pleasuring joke. That's what that is. I get it.
Yeah, it was an
I get
obvious
it. I get it
self-pleasuring
now.
joke.
Thank you.
It's a very odd turn to take from John in an obvious self-pleasuring joke, done in a sarcastic fashion.
Oh, I get. I'm having sex with a piece of melon.
Yeah, yes, that's it.
That's
Yes,
it.
John.
I get it.
What an annoying thing you just did, Jonathan.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was not intended to be ultra annoying. I
It was, I was talking about you humping the melon. Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly what I was doing. You uncovered no secret, John. That was for you to hear and for you to get into the headspace of. Yes, the oysters are supposed to be, for whatever reason, very erotic. Now, I didn't have sex or anything after it, so throw that out the window. But I could eat, I believe, an infinite amount of oysters. If I was hungry and felt good, I could eat an infinite amount of oysters. There's no, because you think you say you get 20 oysters, you split them with another person, and you think that's a lot of oysters. 20, we're not going to eat more, because if full priced oysters at like a steakhouse, 6 oysters is like $30, right? And when they're $30, you eat 6, and you go, well, it's a lot. But when they're only $1, I had 10. I could have had 40 more.
Okay, so what is it? What? Because I don't eat most seafood. I'll eat sushi, but anything that tastes like cooked fish.
John eats seafood. He sees food and eats it.
Yeah.
You get that one, John? I was talking about you eat a lot.
Oh, that's right.
But what is it about the oyster? Is it Is it like a lot of butter and garlic and stuff? Is that why they're good? Because I can't.
No, they're raw. They're raw with nothing on them.
Nothing.
Yeah, they're shucked and then presented on a plate of ice. Now they do. This place did not have cocktail sauce, but it gave you a vinegar onion kind of thing, which is not uncommon, and then something else, which I'm not positive what it was.
Ugh.
And you put them on there, and they didn't give you crackers either.
Oh.
So there was no crackers. So this was just
Oyster crackers.
you were just oyster crackers are small. They usually give you like a saltine to put on top that you can put the oyster on top of. But in this case, they're basically just sliding down your throat. So, and then they're not big, they're very small, the size of snot, which a lot of people compare them to.
Yeah, I've had it. I never.
Have you? It's like snot.
Not going to seek it out and never have it again.
So you want to, John? Do you eat oysters?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll eat about a dozen, but then I'm done, and I realize I don't want any more. The texture gets to me after a while, and I need like horseradish or cocktail sauce or something with it.
Well, I prefer horseradish or cocktail sauce. The best is though when they come up to you, so we're like, we'll have 20 oysters, and we're at this place was jammed, so you could only get bar seating. We're like, we'll have 20 oysters, and they're like, all right, how do you want them split up? And I'm like, who cares, man?
Yeah.
He's like, he's like 776, and I'm like, sure. And then the person I was with started to inquire onto what the oysters were, and I went, it doesn't matter. I just said it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they're from. She doesn't know where they're from. It's gonna mean nothing to her. Like none of this means anything.
These are from New Orleans, and I'm not happy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's we've all heard of Blue Point oysters, and the only reason we've heard of them is because it's been said to us. Like, if you're going to a place where, no, these were all local too. They were all from southern Mass, and so this one. Stop it. Stop it. They're all. You're ordering them by quantity. Let's stop pretending that we're doing something fancy here. Everyone needs to have some kind of like insider knowledge on how the particulars of a certain thing.
That thing that the Globe did an article a couple of years ago. It wasn't Spotlight, I don't think, but it was like an investigative piece where they went through. Oh, Scott Zolak is on the TV for some reason, and we can hear him.
Oh, good.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
They did a thing where they said, all right, if you're getting Chilean sea bass.
If you're running the Comcast thing, can you stop it for a minute, and then we'll turn off that TV when we get a chance?
Oh, they're not listening.
They are listening.
Are they?
Yeah, they listen.
Well,
because it came on. It's not their fault.
There, I did it.
Now it's over.
I fixed it. Well, anyway, so they did actual like DNA testing on the fish. They said, oh, we went to such and such and ordered Chilean sea bass, and it was cod. And they said, oh, this is, this mahi, and it's like, no, that's cod. They don't know. And it's not the restaurant's fault. They're buying it from a fish supplier that's telling you what it is. But it's like, it's not what they say it is. 90% of the time.
I don't doubt it. And, if you're married to, and if that's bothering you, it's just weird. It's just weird. Tony, go ahead.
Gentlemen, good morning. How we doing?
Hello, Tony.
So just, you got me at the right moment here, getting the kids off to school. I would have to say, you're not mentioning it, the oysters, they're good. They do have the consistency of snot. You can eat a whole bunch of them. But you should go ahead and try little neck clams if they have them.
Oh!
You know what I'm saying? A little bit of taste, a little chew.
I know. Well, little neck clams are a whole other animal, my friend, because they are a little chewy. And listen, if you get a seafood tower, you're going to get little neck clams. They're going to give you those in a seafood tower, which you're at the most opulent of business dinners when the seafood tower has been ordered.
Now, is the little neck clam like the cheapest filler on the seafood tower? Is that why you're always getting them on the seafood tower?
I don't know. It's a female T-bone.
You happy?
That wasn't a bad line. That was not a bad line. Say what you will, make fun of it. That was a quick line, and it makes sense. I stand by it. No one might know what I'm talking about, but you do, and that's not a bad line.
I like it.
Wait, what was the question again? I was so caught up in my line.
If the little neck clam is like the celery carrot equivalent of a seafood tower, it's the cheapest filler they can put on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no question about it. Because at the top, they'll have like a lobster tail, then they'll have like crab legs, and then oysters, and then like a myriad of clams on the bottom, because that's like the filler one. Yeah, clams are better cooked. When I was a kid, I used to have Clams Casino, which now that I look back is disgusting.
Which is presented to the people on board the yacht in the movie Four Seasons. Clams Casino. He comes up out of the galley and he's giving everybody a clam, and then the woman, the young girl that he's dating, hers has an actual like pearl in it, like a real pearl ring or something.
Oh.
Very controversial. Bringing that young girl on the boat. Oh, the other couples did not like it.
No, you sure you're not talking about Blame It on Rio? Another movie that was celebrated about a man having sex with an underage woman. Or a girl, I should say, for that.
I think I only watched the important parts of that one. I don't think I watched the whole thing.
I think Blame It on Rio just ran every other hour on HBO.
But did you watch the whole thing?
Probably not. I didn't. I was too young to even masturbate to it, but it was like...
but if you watched enough HBO, you could get the whole movie in parts because it was on all
What were you,
the time.
5. I mean, like, seriously, it was like right when we got... I didn't get cable, actually.
Late bloomer.
Exactly. Let's put it this way. It was on and off before I turned 12, which was when the excitement started for Fred.
You know what I tried to find last night, speaking of excitement? The Flamingo Kid. Because
can't rent it.
You can't.
You have to buy it. I've bought the Flamingo Kid.
I couldn't even buy it.
No, you can't. You got to buy it on DVD. So I bought it on DVD. This happened to me years ago. Now, don't buy it on DVD is my suggestion to you. The Flamingo Kid, once you've purchased it and gone through it all, you'll watch it and go, oh, this isn't very good. But I went through the same thing. I wanted to watch The Flamingo Kid because it's such an odd movie. It's about like gin, rummy.
Well, it's about Phil Brody, the king.
Gin, Phil.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you remember it fondly, but it's one of those things better left off as remembering it fondly. It's not a good movie.
He holds the cards upside down. That's what
Phil
his
Brody,
big thing
the upside down fan.
Upside down fan.
Yeah, there's not.
Right.
It's more of just an interesting piece of culture that.
Yeah.
At one point in the 60s, I guess people were just playing gin rummy, high stakes gin rummy games at big beach clubs throughout the nation. I'll
take your word for it because that I did see. The only thing available on demand were a couple of YouTube clips, and there were like 2 scenes in there. I'm like, well, I don't want to see that scene. I don't want to see the dinner scene. And I don't know what I wanted to see. I guess maybe them playing basketball in the parking lot. I wanted to see that one.
And then I'll just leave you one last card thing because we're going all over the place. But there's this book. It's by this guy. It was suggested for me on Audible. I didn't care. I was in the middle of walking, so I just got it with the credit from Audible. And it's a guy that used to be the editor of Vanity Fair. And it's so boring. At one point, he talks about how him and his friend played these 2 people of prominence in bridge and got a grand slam and something else. Oh. And he's like, if you don't play bridge, this doesn't mean anything to you. But for those of you who do know, this is once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, if you're a contract bridge aficionado.
Yeah, and it's just my parents used to have people over to play bridge. Like they were in a bridge club that every month they'd go to someone else's house. It was the only time drunk people were in my home. That wasn't my dad just being drunk in his underwear. It was when they had bridge club. Where did that all go away? People used to get together and play bridge.
I don't know.
And it sounds like it was hard.
You know what's coming back? Mahjong.
My mom plays Mahjong in the club.
My wife has been playing Mahjong.
Yeah, it's when it comes with menopause. A Mahjong board. Yeah, my mom has a Mahjong group. And I'll call her because they play in the afternoon, like whenever. And I'll call her and she'll go, Freddie? And I'll be like, yeah, because I'll be driving home from work. I'll be like, hey, how you doing? And she'll be like, Mahjong is today and I'm hosting. Oh, yeah, how many people are coming over? Well, there's a lot of people who are sick. 4?
Yeah.
And she'll be like scrambling. Like it's so much pressure to have 4 people into her house.
I thought that invitation was of her after. I've been on a 36-hour Mahjong tear. I haven't slept. These people won't leave.
I think the Mahjong is more about good conversation. Mm-hmm. There you go. Mahjong. That is funny. That is... And no man plays it. It's only women. No man in the world plays Mahjong.
In her defense, she's been playing with clients because that's what they wanted to do, and they have to come up with different activities to do. And this one client wanted to play Mahjong, so when I say she's been playing, she's played twice.
Okay. Well, there you go. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. We will come back with everything that happened last night.
Tell them right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
Hey, we're Dutcher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game. What happens to change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. What's going on?
Red Sox riding
Yeah.
a 5-game losing streak into Atlanta over the weekend. We were sitting here talking on Friday. Ugh, what if they get swept by the Braves? Oh, that was not to be the case. They took game 1 on Friday night, shut out on Saturday. So the rubber match yesterday. I hope you weren't late to this one, especially if you like offense, because it all happened in the first inning.
High drive, center field. Harris back again. Looking up, and it's off the wall. In to score Devers. Abreu coming in. Here comes Marcelo coming in. Everybody scores. Trevor Story narrowly missing a home run there and makes it 3-0.
3 runs for the Red Sox in the first inning, and the Braves would answer with a run of their own in the bottom of the first. Story, by the way, impressive defensively later in the game.
Dalby's is 1 for 3 with a single. He's also punched out twice. He'll ground that one. A diving play. Story will throw and will set him down. Trevor Story has had a series here in Atlanta.
But the real story of the game, Mr. Crochet on the mound, who towed the rubber for the rubber match. Absolute caution. What happened to that? What was he at 85 pitches when he got yanked last week?
It was two starts ago, 85 pitches, and they just randomly took him out for no reason.
Get out of there. We got the lead. You're pitching well. Get out.
Yeah.
Well, they left him in last night. He pitched into the seventh inning.
Not Fred.
3-2.
What?
99 pitches, Fred, after 6. 99, and Cora ran him back out there for the 7th.
Get back out there. How did it go?
3-2. Cut on and miss, struck him out. What a performance today by Garrett Crochet. He strikes out the side in the 7th inning. 112 pitches. That is a career high, and what a way to end that performance.
Okay. Not only did he strike out the side, he struck out the side on 13 pitches. At 99 heading into that inning.
Fantastic. 12 strikeouts. So that 85 pitch thing, and Cora said, look, we're just going to do what we're going to do. I don't care. This is the plan. What happened to the plan?
I'm telling you that they must have the way that they decided to deal with him, because he's, never pitched an entire season, is they've circled starts on the calendar where they were going to limit his pitches. And that's 2 starts ago was that day. It's really not more than that. I mean,
there's still a plan.
If Crochet is, a Cy Young candidate and you're looking to somehow squeak into the wild card race, I certainly think you'd want him pitching in August and September rather than pitching another inning back in April. Or May. I mean, that's what they're doing with the guy. The guy, what's the most innings he's ever pitched in a season?
It was last year.
And what did he pitch?
I'm getting it up right now for you, Fred.
Thank you, sir.
I'm getting it up.
Well,
thank you.
While you're getting it up, Wally.
146 innings last year.
Okay, 146 innings. He's pitched 82 so far this year.
Yep.
So he's pitched more than half as many innings as he has his entire season. And he's healthy. And so whatever they're doing is working. So
it's in the top 10 in the American League in ERA.
Because what's going to happen is that they could let him pitch 112 pitches every game, and then he'll get hurt, and then everyone will go, why'd you let him pitch so much? So, yes, they had dates. They obviously they have it set up where there's going to be different runs. The problem with pitching is no one knows. No one knows. Read the Arm by Jeff Passan. No one has any idea what it's, because it's not necessarily the amount, and it's throwing is a natural human motion, but it's not natural to throw 100. So that's putting an incredible amount of strain on your elbow and that elbow ligament. And so some people feel that it doesn't matter how much you do it. It's not it's not an issue of wearing it down. It's an issue of it just snapping. And then there's others that believe that it's wearing down. The way that it's commonly done now is that you pitch and then you take 3 months off from throwing and then you work your way up into pitching again, and then there you go. That's what they teach, at least like teenagers, is that you pitch spring, summer, take 3 months off, and then work back into pitching again.
The facts for Crochet: he's tied for the major league lead in strikeouts. He is in the top 10 in the American League, or Major League Baseball rather, in ERA. And you were talking about a Cy Young candidate. He would be if the Red Sox are better.
Oh, he's still a Cy Young candidate. He'll still finish in the top 5 Cy Young voting. The thing is that you're 3 games under 500 despite having him at the top of your rotation. And he just what is he, 5-4?
With an ERA of under 2.
With an ERA under 2. So there you go. You haven't built this team very well. And the rest of your starting pitching isn't very good. And outside of your closer, your bullpen's not very good.
They just put another setup man on the injured list yesterday.
It's a long season, Johnny.
Yeah,
you're not winning the division. I got some pushback.
They're inching their way back toward that magical 500 mark, 29 and 32.
Well,
they're never going to be too far from there.
Unfortunately, the Yankees won yesterday as well, so you weren't able to pick up that precious game. So you still sit 8.5 back.
It's kind of like a life raft. You know, you're underwater for a while, then you pull yourself back up on the boat, then you fall in the water again.
Yeah.
500.
You're still hanging onto the rope on the side of the raft.
You're 3 games under.
Even the hand is underwater at that point, but you're still hanging on.
Yeah, you're 3 games under. You won 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. Another sub-500 team, by the way. Congratulations.
Listen, you're only 3.5 out of the AL wild card. 3.5 out.
Well, if you ask Crochet about it, he defers to Mr. William Joel, and it's just a matter of trust, Fred.
You know, he told me, let's keep going. And, you know, I was fired up. I was just hoping it wasn't for Harris only. You know, it's like, if you're going to send me back out, like, let me go to work. And he did. And a lot of props to AC for having trusted me there. You know, a lot of props to Wong today for calling a great game. It's been since...
I don't know what Albert Clifford Slater had to do with it.
Baltimore, my second start of the year since I've thrown to him. And, you know, there wasn't a pitch that I want to take back all day long.
Wondering why the manager was sitting backwards in the chair with his arms on the resting on the top of the chair.
So the Sox...
He was so distracted the whole game trying to get Kelly, but there was that pesky blonde kid in the stands that kept blocking him.
No day off. They're right back at it tonight, back at Fenway Park, back home after the road trip.
Angels.
Yeah.
Mike Trout just came off the injured list. He'll be there tonight.
All right. I still get excited when I see the Angels. I say, ooh, Ohtani. No. Darn it.
Nope.
You get Trout, though.
You get Trout.
You get Trout, so you're doing okay.
Let's head over to the Memorial Tournament, shall we? The man who some said, Fred, what happened to this guy? You know, why hasn't he won? He never went anywhere, Fred.
The man is a machine. Scotty Scheffler, the repeat champion at Jack's event.
Jack Nicklaus's event, the Memorial Tournament, contested this weekend, Muirfield Village. Scotty Scheffler with an opening round of 70, backed it up on Friday. Then on moving day, Saturday, fired a 68. Finished off with another 200 par performance in round 4 to take the Memorial by 4 shots over Ben Griffin, 5 over Sepp Straka.
This is God telling you to leave the house, that this was on television. 2 of the networks yesterday, if you turned them on, one had the women's, some women's golf tournament.
Women's, you mean the U.S. Open?
And then the other one had the Memorial Tournament.
Yeah.
And that was just saying to everyone, leave. Get out of the house. You've stayed in enough. Wait till September, then you can sit home again on Sundays. Now is the 3 months where you have to leave the house.
There was a Swedish woman who won the U.S. Women's Open, first Swede to win since.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yes, you do. Annika Sorenstam.
Yep. And I'll tell you this, is that as long as it's someone from this country that wins it,
that's important.
Then we'll talk about it. But until then, I don't have any time for it.
Well, she went to college at Oklahoma State. Does that count?
Well, it's good that she came over to Europe to go to such a fine institution.
It's a golf school.
Like, I'm not going anywhere unless it's Oklahoma State.
It's a golf school. Ricky Fowler went there.
Scenic.
Yeah, I'm sure. And it sounds like it's great golf weather, too, at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're playing a lot in
Not
Oklahoma.
Not a lot of practice hitting the ball uphill, Oklahoma.
I have a feeling that Oklahoma State spends a lot of time in Florida. If they're a good golf program, I have a feeling that they're not. That they might play one time in Oklahoma.
A lot of road matches.
Yeah, Oklahoma's crappier than here. So
Is it?
Oh, Oklahoma's terrible weather. Yeah, they get terrible weather.
Yeah, people don't realize that. I had family move out there, and they get storms that are as bad as out here, but worse because it's the plains. So it just tears everything to shreds.
Well, anytime
it gets super cold.
It gets colder than here. Like anytime that you see something on television that's like there's freezing temperatures all over, like record freezing lows, and you go, wait, it's not that cold here. You look out and you go, oh, it's the states no one ever thought about because nothing's blocking the wind. The wind just can carry for hundreds and hundreds of miles without any natural obstruction.
And there's nothing to retain heat either, so when it gets cold, it stays cold.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
no good.
Plains land, so it just is, it's just desolate and horrible.
Oklahoma has milder winters than Massachusetts, number one.
Someone's got AI right in front of them.
Yeah, well, I believe the both of you are talking out of your ass.
Because you know he's not
now.
scrolling down, Fred. He's just
well,
looking
I know
at the
you've
first
never
hit,
been
and
to
it's
Oklahoma
the stupid AI
either.
thing that's wrong, probably.
No, it is the AI.
And I have been to Oklahoma. Thank you.
In the winter?
Yes, in the winter, in February. It sucks.
What the hell were you doing there?
Moving here. Stopping on my way back from Albuquerque.
Stopping on the way back. You got to spend time there.
I have a friend from Atlanta that I haven't talked to in a long time that had to move out to Oklahoma for some reason, and it's the worst. And it's not Tulsa either. It's not Oklahoma City. It's not Tulsa. It's something else.
Ugh.
Or is it Nebraska? Something like that. It's not Oklahoma City or Tulsa. I know that because there's not a professional team, and it's not. Tulsa's supposed to be kind of cool. I don't know. It's somewhere in anyway. It's just terrible.
Top 5 cities in Oklahoma according to Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Norman.
Yeah, that's Oklahoma, right? Proper. That's where that is.
Yeah. Broken Arrow.
Yeah, Broken Arrow. My family living there for a while too.
It's going down the list.
Claremore.
Broken Arrow's got to be like a reservation dogs type situation, right?
I don't know, but this is according to population. Once you get past Oklahoma City and Tulsa, it's Norman, Broken Arrow, Edmond, Lawton, Moore, Midwest City, Enid, Oklahoma. I've heard of for some reason.
Well, anyway, even if Oklahoma's warmer than Massachusetts as a whole in the winter, it's not. Like, you're not playing golf there is all I got to say, is that you're not playing golf. Because Michigan might be a little bit warmer than here, but then I defy you to go into Michigan and stand out in the cold and tell me which is colder. As Hardy found out when we went to the playoff game.
Oof.
I mean, you get those, and that's a city with high buildings. Like, but you get out there, that's a different kind of cold. Now, listen. It stays light longer than 5 minutes, so I'll give it that. But it is cold. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Trevor Story, a 3-run double in the first inning. Garrett Crochet went 7 strong innings, and the Red Sox beat the Braves in Atlanta again 3-1. They take 2 out of 3 over the weekend, and Richard Fitz will start tonight at Fenway against the Angels. The Sox yesterday placed primary setup man Justin Slayton on the injured list with shoulder fatigue. The Stanley Cup Finals begin Wednesday night. Florida goes to Edmonton. The NBA Finals begin Thursday night in Oklahoma City. Thunder set to host Indiana. And at the French Open tennis tournament, Coco Gauff has already won this morning to reach the women's quarterfinals. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Celsius Energy Drinks. Refresh your energy with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
on the Sports Hub.
Hey, at the end of this segment, we're going to have a 4-pack of tickets for Gab Fest, the first beer fest at the Great American Beer Hall in Medford. It's funny, Hardy was talking to me about like a dust-up at this golf tournament, an amateur golf tournament, like at a club.
Oh, yeah, the one where I won my flight, that one?
Okay, so yes, he can speak openly on it.
Thank you.
So someone was pushed. And, you know, I've seen that too. And it's happened to me too during club golf tournaments. And what I wished would happen during that, I told Hardy, is that you would just show someone, the two people arguing, a satellite picture of the Earth and say, no one on this planet cares except you two. People get so wrapped up in that, and you got to just, at a certain point, go, it doesn't matter. And if it does matter that much to you, you got to get some kind of perspective because you're a complete loser. Just, it's not a big deal. Even if your name forever is going to be in the clubhouse, you know, encased in bronze on a
It's not
plaque.
bronze. It's an acrylic thing. Here, I'll show you a picture of my trophy there. Right?
Well, the trophy stays with you forever.
Thank you.
You'll be buried with it, I hope.
Where's that trophy going to be presented? Where in the house? Where does that go?
Right next to all the other things I keep down in my home office studio.
Yeah, I've
that
seen it.
Nobody cares about.
I've seen the.
I showed it to
my.
I showed it to Milo. I brought Milo downstairs. I
Oh.
said, "Here, Milo," and I showed him everything, and I told him the story about each one.
And he was very impressed.
Oh yeah. He can't wait to get back there. He talks about it all the time. He's like, Dad, where are all your trophies?
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough. We're talking about Hardy's trophies. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I know. It's like I'm your dad.
Really?
We're not all born into athletic excellence.
Here's the plaque for the hole-in-one I got in 1991. You know,
all right.
20 years before you were born.
That's right. I've been playing this game a long time. Okay, so you know about George Pickens, right?
Yes.
Well, you obviously know about B-Wall on Twitter, at B-Wall. Well, as we all know, at B-Wall, who is, he's got a check mark, so he's paid for that on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
He says, all right, ... I get it, ... and then an emoji of a face with the eyes closed and a somber look. George Pickens' timeline of trouble, comma, a thread, and then it's got a spool of thread emoji. These are great times. And then it gets into he's got a link. There were 14 comments on it, and one of them was from George Pickens, who goes by @2Peasy, Pezzy _. And his thing is GP with two X-rays of ribs. I don't know. And it says LMAOOO ... I play for the Cowboys, bro. Stop reminiscing and trying to justify the trade. Crying laughter emoji, crying laughter emoji. Y'all just lost another good player to fake reports like this one. Crying emoji. Black man with a hand over his face emoji. These are wild times, my friend. And then at
debating via emoji.
Yes, and just debating. And then out comes out of nowhere at Obi-Wan 2, but before the O of Obi-Wan is a symbol. I don't know if it's on a keyboard. It's a 0 with like a line through it. I don't know.
Okay.
But of course, once and he's also got a blue check mark because he paid for it. So these are a real cavalcade of winners. At Obi-Wan 2, who you can't ignore, says, nah, big dog, you was definitely a problem. They wouldn't have moved on from you for next to nothing if that wasn't the case. Well, that won't sit well with George Pickens, will it? Well, it won't. Because George Pickens came back lift shot style. And he said, I forced, buddy. They were gladly keeping me. Smiley, 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 smiley. Have a nice day and a blessed one, my guy. So the news that George Pickens just announced on Twitter, which cannot be refuted in any way, is that he forced his way out of Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh went and got DK Metcalf because they knew that Pickens was forcing his way out, and then waited around until Was it after the draft that they traded him?
I thought
they got a third rounder for him. Maybe it was right before the draft, but it was like 2 months after they traded for DK Metcalf. So George Pickens has forced him way out of Pittsburgh, and if that's the case, I know how he did it, by spazzing out on every play. George Pickens has so much talent. He cost himself being a first-round pick already, and had the likes of Tyquan Thornton being taken ahead of him.
Pickens was after. The trade of Pickens was after.
That's what I figured. So, yeah, he had forced his way out to such a notion that they waited around to trade him until after the draft because they were just looking for value. They wanted to get rid of him. I mean, it's obvious. The timing of it is obvious. And, yeah, in a way, he's right. He forced his way out, just like he forced no team to take him in the first round, just like he forced getting off a Steelers team and onto this Cowboys team, and have fun acting like that in Dallas, where you're on TV, in primetime TV, every single game. I mean, he's the only player, again, I've said it before, so pardon me if you're hearing this again, but when you're watching the game live and it's just the live play, you can see him pouting and freaking out. It's really rare.
That's the thing. It's not going to change.
He breaks off routes and just starts jumping up and down in hysterics while the play's going on. And it could be a positive play. It could be a 60-yard run. Yeah. And he's on the other side of the field throwing a conniption fit because he didn't get the ball.
He's not going to get the ball in Dallas either.
No, he's not going to get the ball in Dallas.
What does he think is going to happen to him in Dallas? He just upgraded. The guy across the field is better now than he was when he was in Pittsburgh.
I mean, he's got a better quarterback, I guess, but I don't really know. He had but Russell Wilson was a great quarterback for him because Russell Wilson throws that like beautiful drop pass, like that like 50-yard, 40-yard, like into a bucket pass. He does it better than pretty much anyone else in the NFL. If you were saying what's Russell Wilson's best trait at this age, it's probably that ball, and that's perfect for Pickens because Pickens can get downfield and he's real physical, and he doesn't want to run routes. So that just having him run in a straight line and then kind of compete for the ball, DK Metcalf can do that too, obviously. DK Metcalf is better than George Pickens. But, I mean, George Pickens is a guy who should have been making a lot more money than he has, but he's still, making money playing football. And he couldn't resist the siren call of B-Wall. And then Obi-Wan too. He had to get on there.
There's nothing more productive than getting triggered by Twitter.
Yeah, and
nothing
listen,
more productive.
It's happened to me, but it's not happened to me again.
I know, but it makes all these athletes super likable. There are all kinds of positive things that happen to athletes who do this.
I don't understand how he found it.
I'm kind of surprised he's still on Twitter. He's 24 years old.
I just don't know how he found it because he's not even he's not even mentioned in the thing that B-Wall puts up.
Right. And
so he was obviously what was he just searching for? George Pickens? He must have searched in Twitter George Pickens. Since it's the offseason, there was nothing in it. So this is what came up. He got bored and he wanted to look at himself.
Now, to give most athletes credit, I'm sure there's stuff we don't know about, but there's Kevin Durant who is in his mid-30s and won't get off.
Well,
of
he's
Twitter.
got mental problems.
And then it's Pickens. But how many athletes really get sucked in by this? 10? I mean, how many do we hear about that do this?
I'm going to give every athlete advice. I'll just give everyone advice. There's no reason to be on Twitter. I got off Twitter, and it collects all the information. Believe me, you're fine without getting the information on Twitter. If you want to follow sports, go to The Athletic, ESPN. There's several sites that you can go to. More than you could ever read. There's more information about sports than you could ever read out there. If something's going on live. Well, if something's going on live, follow it live. You don't have to watch it. You just follow the score. You can watch everything on your phone now. It's not necessary. It's not fun like Instagram where there's booby pics. Caller number 10 to the contest line is 617-931-0985. We'll score a 4-pack of general admission tickets for Session 1 of Gab Fest, the first beer fest at the Great American Beer Hall in Medford, Mass. on Saturday, June 14th. Enjoy more than 30 different beers, live music, DJs, and nonstop entertainment. For more info and Eventbrite tickets, visit gabhall.com. We will be back. It is a momentous day in broadcasting for John Wallach. And we will, not you, you didn't do anything, but one of your idols is calling it a career. And we will use this as an opportunity to just see how big a fan John is of this gentleman. And we'll do that in just a moment.
Heating, cooling, and electric. Ryan and his team want to thank all the great men and women in the trades who get up early every morning to keep our homes and businesses running, keep working hard, and finish every job strong.
From the Top Your Tire Studios, WBZ FM and HD1.
It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group Station.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox wound up with 2 wins in 3 games in Atlanta over the weekend.
High drive, center field, Harris back again. Looking up, and it's off the wall. In to score Devers, Abreu coming in. Here comes Marcelo coming in. Everybody scores. Trevor Story narrowly missing a home run there and makes it 3-0.
That is Dave O'Brien on Nesson, and that was the big hit of the game for the Red Sox in a 3-1 win. Garrett Crochet, the true star of this game. He went 7 innings, allowed 1 run and 5 hits while striking out 12. Sox lose 4 of 6 on their road trip. They're 3 games under 500. They'll be back home to play the Angels tonight. The Stanley Cup Finals begin Wednesday night with Florida going to Edmonton. The NBA Finals begin Thursday night in Oklahoma City. The Thunder set to host Indiana. And in tennis at the French Open, 4th-round play ongoing in Paris. Coco Gauff has already won. Men's top seed Jannik Sinner and Novak Djokovic will play later. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rodenheiser Home Services. Rodenheiser is offering $200 off any landscape lighting package so you can enjoy your outdoor space after sunset. Book a consultation now through June 30th at Rodenheiser.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Is elongating?
Weekday morning.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. You can watch us on YouTube. Simply go to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. When we first met John years ago, he was obviously a dork, and so you start thinking about like things that dorky guys like in magic, and he did that, and then for some reason Dr. Demento came up, or novelty comedy songs came up.
Yeah.
I don't remember quite how it happened.
I think it was a Weird Al discussion, to be honest with you. That's how we kind of led through it. You know.
But John, you grew up loving the nationally famous and terribly influential Dr. Demento show, correct?
I used to listen every Sunday night, yeah.
Well, Dr. Demento, Barrett Hansen, as you probably call him,
Yeah, me and Barrett.
will retire from his program when it reaches the 55th anniversary in October. So you were listening to him right when he came on the air. On this week's show, Demento announced that it was his final regular show with a series of retrospective episodes regarding the history of the show to air weekly until the final episode in October. That's a long retrospective.
He hasn't been on terrestrial radio for a while, though. He can't be. He can't have been.
Why not? Bloomberg is. Hansen debuted his Dr. Demento persona on Freeform Rock 106.7. Do you know where?
No.
In Pasadena, California.
Oh.
That's now K-Rock.
Oh.
In 1970, quickly converting to focusing on comedy and novelty music, comedy in quotations. His show could be heard across multiple Los Angeles stations over subsequent decades, including a long run at 94.7 KMT from 72 to 87. A syndicated version of the show debuted in 1974. And, oh, yeah, you're right, John. It moved to a subscription internet platform in 2010.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Yeah, so it was...
It's been 15 years since you were able to get Dr. Demento for free.
Yeah, so Demento basically retired was retired 15 years ago.
How much is a subscription? I don't mean to totally throw us off, but I'm genuinely
It's $100 a week.
Oh, seriously,
What's the funniest number? I know it's three rubber chickens. It's 3 rubber chickens that you need to do.
What do you pay for this?
All right, so if you don't know who Dr. Demento is, he loves horns that you squeeze the button and squeeze the bulb and the horn makes the noise.
Yeah.
He loves wearing magic top hats. He loves a lot of things. And here is a little sampling of Dr. Demento.
Oh, every week I bring you 2 hours of mad music and crazy comedy from out of the archives and off the wall. This week we feature Alan Sherman, Bill Cosby with his new album, Howie Mandel with a bit of his, along with Frank Zappa, Eddie Murphy, and some special treasures from the archives. Some of the very best of the thousands of unreleased tapes we've received over the last 15 years. Things you'll never find in any record store or hear anywhere else on the radio. The Dr. Demento Show. You have an appointment.
Yeah.
All right, so
no
John
girl would
liked
go
that.
near me until I was 20.
Yeah, John liked that. That to John was music to his ears.
For the last
John Wallach.
For the last 15 years, he's been were you spending the $15 a month for the subscription? That's the cost, or did you give $150 for the year?
Oh, $150 for the year.
Yeah.
They bargain that way. Come on.
Dr. Demento, if you want to hear more of what he does, and you're not overly annoyed by zany music, here is a little bit more.
Beam me up, Scotty. Dr. Gonzo on the Dr. Demento Show. That one for Heather Schneider of Newport News, Virginia. Dr. Demento.
And you know Heather Schneider wasn't fat. That you know for sure.
I'm picturing Fred Willard at the funeral.
Dr. Demento's never going to die. You know why? Laughter keeps you young.
Beam me up, Scotty. Dr. Gonzo on the Dr. Demento Show. That one for Heather Schneider of Newport News, Virginia. Dr. Demento request line.
Doctor, hey! This is Duke Donovan from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. And I get demented on KJO 104.
This is Wog's pen pal.
I'd like to hear Frank Zappa, I Am the Slime.
That's the guy who used to bully Wallach in high school.
Yeah.
That was.
By the way, that's the first time I've ever heard Dr. Demento in my life was just now. But they do a great one on Mr. Show where Bob Odenkirk calls himself something else, but it's like Dr. Demento. And his mother keeps interrupting his interview while he's in the kitchen having tea. All right, so John, here we go.
Okay.
Listen, it's not reinventing the wheel, but when I saw Dr. Demento was retiring, I decided to see just how big a Demento fan you were.
It's been a while.
I went title and artist. Now you listen to this. You were religiously listening to this show.
I listened to this show for 4 or 5 years when I was a kid. Yeah.
Okay. And would you tape the shows and re-listen to them?
I would not. I would not do that.
But you would go to the record stores because we know you had the Curly Shuffle.
I did. That's correct.
Okay, so you would sometimes hear music on Dr. Demento and then you would go purchase it at your local record store.
Yes.
Perhaps Strawberries, which I hear was the big thing.
Strawberries was the big thing when I was a kid.
There was one in Lexington, Strawberries?
There was not.
Yeah.
There was not. It was in Watertown. That's the one.
Oh, you had to go all the way to Watertown. That's no fun. All right, so here we go. These are some Dr. Demento. I looked up Dr. Demento playlist. It wasn't hard.
All right. No, I'm not going to get it.
He's Jewish.
Silverstein.
Sherman. Okay.
Sherman.
All right. I know you know this one.
Okay.
They won't answer. They can't talk.
Tiny Tim, Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
No.
Oh, my God.
Play more. Play more.
They won't answer. They can't talk.
Okay. Fish heads, Barnes and Barnes.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shake that right off.
I knew he knew it because we've gone over
I went
this.
too fast. Yeah.
They played this on MTV a lot.
Did they really?
A lot.
I don't remember that.
A lot.
Wow.
Like too much. They played it on MTV.
Did you crossover smash?
Now, Fred, did you know that was Barnes and Barnes who did the Fishhead song?
No, I know one of them sued me. All right, here we go. What is this song? It's a holiday favorite.
Okay.
All right. They're all over the place here.
Yeah, they're not in order.
Okay, they're really not. All right, here we go.
Is that all we got?
Obviously a Halloween song.
Is that all we have
That's
from
all
the
we
song?
have.
That's all you get.
I don't know. I don't know which holiday
It's a Christmas
song. That is.
song.
Oh, I gathered that.
Okay.
Barry Gordon mean anything to you?
Barry Gordon?
It's by Barry Gordon.
No.
No, I don't even want to hear this anymore. That's awful.
That one.
All right, here we go. All right, here. If you didn't know that, I don't know about this. This seems to be a popular one. Here you go.
Because I wanted to show her my gloves, because she had on her mitts. And I blushed brightly when she showed me her perfume that she buys.
So, see, there was a misdirection there. It was like a dueling piano. You don't know that, do you?
The Streak by Ray Stevens.
No, it's Polka Dot Undies by Bowser and Blue. Now, Adam, you're never going to know this, but Adam was hell-bent on putting this in here.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Did
but
this make it onto his show?
I don't know.
Yes. I had cassette tapes of the show. I never listened to it on the radio,
Adam.
but
All right.
it's on there.
This isn't about you.
Well,
it's about John.
John, see if you can get this one.
All right. 12. There's no way that song was on Dr.
You know the song, though, don't you?
And it's
No,
of course not. No,
No.
one hands put in the hands of a certain Philadelphia band that did Punk Rock Girl. Then maybe you get that going.
All right.
But Camper Van Beethoven, no sense of humor. All right, here we go. All right, please know this one. Please know this one.
I want him to get the artist, too, because that would be so impressive.
But even if you don't know the artist, I do want you to
All right.
even if they say it in what we play. Here we go. It's by Carlo Borzini.
Senior.
Senior. Not to be confused with Junior. Does he have like a reveal where does he have another clip of the song in there?
The reveal is in there.
All right,
it gives away the title.
Put
of the
the
song.
reveal. Play the reveal and see if you can get this.
My wife left town with a banana. Love a rotten deal. Found that yellow devil hiding in her purse. He's cold and he's hard, but he's got appeal.
It's funny. His wife left town with a banana. That's ridiculous.
It's a rotten deal.
It's a rotten deal.
It's a rotten deal.
This is 55 years of this. I wonder why it went off the air 15 years ago. All right, this is famous. This is more about just getting the artist right.
All right,
Yeah, this is just so you can get a win here. Come
Yeah.
on.
Jesus, Adam.
How do I my God.
These are
Jesus
novelty
Christ.
songs. You can't. There's nothing in the song that doesn't give it away. So you got to find a little bit that sets it up because they're all like a minute and a half long. 1950s, John. Huge novelty song that has that Demento will probably play this every other week on his stupid show.
So the only thing I could tell you is it's like the novelty song of all time.
Yes.
It's not the Monster Mash. It's
You're close.
Let's see if I can just get him a little clip of the reveal.
Okay.
It was a one-eyed, one-horn
Flying Purple People Eater. Yeah, I got that.
Did you own that?
No, I did not own that.
Okay.
That's too old for me.
Yeah,
Jesus.
you don't know the artist?
No.
Oh,
What? No one knows the artist.
Shep
Everyone know-
Woolley.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Demento knows.
Yeah, well-
that kid from Fargo, North Dakota, that called in about playing the Frank Zappa song knows.
The Purple People Eater. Yes, I remember that song.
All right, and here we go. Finally, this is Weird Al, but
Okay.
which one is this? Just okay.
Yoda.
All right, there you go.
There's my win for the day.
There's your win for the
It's
day.
Yoda.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can see that John led with the current parody songs.
Hold on a second. Because this sounds like the beginning of. Is it to Lola? Is that what
Yeah.
you want the reveal?
You wanted to win.
We got
There's the
33
win.
seconds of the reveal, so it must be
Well, Weird
good.
Al was very anti-trans. He did not like the song.
Yeah, pretty much. That was it. That's Weird Al in a nutshell. Right
Weird
there.
Al's not funny at all.
Been on tour for 45 years
But
now.
it's just not funny at all.
Love him.
But none of his songs are funny. They're all stupid. They're not funny in a stupid way. The funniest thing he did is Dr. Demento linked up live with Tom Snyder. This was in a documentary I saw about Weird Al. So Tom Snyder did the Letterman slot, 12:30 to 1:30, back when people still cared about that kind of thing. and Dr. Demento was on the air. John, do you remember what happened? Well, we've talked about this actually on the air before. You're losing your mind a little bit, so I'll fill you in. So they link up Dr. Demento and Tom Snyder live, and Weird Al plays Another One Rides the Bus live.
No.
And it's the first time that he had ever been on television. And there is a part of that makes me laugh out loud because there's just this dork that's with him that just honks these two horns and then goes, bring, and then like leaves. And it makes me laugh because it's him with an accordion.
It's just him
in an accordion, like stepping on like horn. And there's a guy like just blowing a horn.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was the two of them. I remember.
It's actually made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like it actually, when I saw that in the documentary, that made me laugh. I told you the Christmas that my dad just showed up with my dad never got me anything for any holiday. And one day under the tree, this was like well after CDs were a thing too. There was a gift from my father. So this had never happened before. It really had never happened. It hasn't happened since. It was a gift from my father. And I opened up. And it was a Weird Al Yankovic record. And I just went, what am I going to do with this? A, I don't have a record player. And B, what in the world made you think I liked Weird Al Yankovic?
Oh, boy.
And I've asked him that question. Every Christmas I ask him, why did you get me that Weird Al Yankovic record?
And what does he say?
He's mellowed out a little bit. It used to be yelling, and now it's he thought I liked comedy or something. Because we had a really good relationship. So he was like, I know you like comedy.
Yeah. I
know
you like food.
Yeah, exactly.
I bought you a box of cereal.
Like I saw you watching the Brady Bunch, so I figured you liked comedy. One time when I came home from work, you were watching the Brady Bunch. So
is there a chance your mother just had it one Christmas and said, fine, you go out and get the boys something?
No, because my father was probably on his annual Kmart run on Christmas Eve to get my mother vacuum bags and tennis balls.
He probably thought he was doing something really nice.
I doubt it. He would go to Kmart on Christmas Eve and he would make a big production about it. He'd be like, I'm going out to get gifts.
Yeah.
And then it would be this sense of dread in the house because we knew he was going to Kmart. And one year he got my mom vacuum bags and tennis balls. And my mother had a conniption fit crying.
Burst into tears, I would imagine.
Well, the thing that set her off is this is when I was little, so records were still a thing. I went to the mall with my grandmother, and I bought her an Air Supply record. I hated Air Supply. I just figured that was like old people music. So, like, they liked it. And I wrapped it up, and when my mom opened it, she burst into tears and said, I don't even have a record player, and this Christmas is the worst Christmas ever. And since I can... That was the last straw for her because she thought at least I would have like made her something or something like that. So when my father had given her these horrible, horrible gifts, she then opened mine and it was like a last straw situation. She broke down crying in front of his mother, my father, and me. That was Christmas. Her sobbing. Did you ever get something from like a grand aunt that was wildly inappropriate?
No.
Like when I was 17, my Aunt Truella gave me a Sesame Street book called like My Name is Fred because my name's Fred. I'm like, you shipped this and everything. She's like, I thought you'd like it because your name is Fred. It's like, yeah. Why don't you buy me B-52's album or get me something from Sanford and Son?
I was 8, maybe 10 when my Aunt Bonnie got me Avon Musk soap on a rope.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the soap on a rope right around the same age. Yep.
And I to this day, I could ask my sister about it. It was great. We're sitting at the big Christmas table, and I said, thank you, Aunt Bonnie, for this. And her husband, my Uncle Larry, said, what? What'd she give you? He was automatically pissed because I was laughing when I thanked her for it.
Yeah.
What? What'd she do now?
Yeah, she does something stupid. You had to keep her in line. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Fluto Shinzawa will join us to talk about this Bruins head coaching search. Quite a few ex-Bruins playing in this final. 2 or 3, but we'll be right back.
I'm curious if there's been any.
Dutcher and Hardy, the Boston Bruins, are sitting at home as we await the rematch of the Stanley Cup last year. You see Brad Marchand and Trent Frederick. They're all playing in that thing. Fluto Shinzawa, of course, is the senior NHL writer for The Athletic, covering the Boston Bruins. He joins us. Fluto, hello, sir.
Good morning, Fred.
All right, so here we are. We sit on June 2nd. The Bruins do not have a coach for next season. What are you hearing in terms of the process?
I think it could be imminent, Fred. If you look back at last week, Wednesday, Mitch Love interviewed in person. Thursday, Jay Leach interviewed in person. And then Friday, Marco Sturm, old friend, interviewed in person. So I don't know what took place before that. I don't know what, if anything, is scheduled for after in terms of in-person interviews for these folks with any other candidates, any other finalists. But those are three legitimate down-to-the-wire finalists. So if you look at it from that perspective, then perhaps the whole process of doing the in-person interviews is winding down if it hasn't already concluded. So what's left to make a decision?
All right. Was Joe Sacco given any consideration at all?
That I don't know. Don Sweeney said earlier in the offseason that Joe would be included in a final group of coaches. That was the line. So what does that mean? Does that mean that he was among the finalists? I don't know. But he was given consideration. I just don't know if he was included in that last tier.
Okay, so we've seen other teams hire coaches, and what, based on the finalists, does it seem that the Bruins are looking for?
I think they at least those three that I know of, those three finalists, they fit a certain profile. Marco Sturm, 46. Jay Leach, 45, Mitch Love, 40. They're relatively young. We're not talking the Mike Sullivan, the Peter Laviolette, the folks that have been around and have been able to really, especially with Peter, you look at that track record of being able to get teams and really push them toward that last tier of competitiveness. None of these guys has been an NHL head coach. They have all had head coaching experience in the American League. Jay was Providence, Marco with Ontario, LA's affiliate, and then Mitch Love was with Calgary for 2 years in their American League farm clubs. So who are these folks? These are up-and-coming coaches. They are not necessarily, they haven't been around in terms of NHL experience, but they are young, they're dynamic, they're good communicators, they are progressive thinkers in terms of video, in terms of data, in terms of analytics. And I think they fit the profile, guys, of somebody who will grow in unison with the players and the team and the organization around them. Let's face it, okay, you can talk all you want about, you have Pastrnak, you have McAvoy, you have Swayman, and with those players, those foundational players, perhaps this team can get right back into the playoffs next year. We'll see. But the facts are that this was the fifth worst team in the league. And they have a prospect pool that has been replenished to some point, but not to a point where any team would be comfortable. And who is that next tier of players coming up? It's hard to see. So you put that all, bundle that all in. This is not the Florida Panthers. This is a team that we don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. We don't. It all depends on what they do at the draft, July 1st. Whatever happens after, there's still a lot of roster building to take place. So you look at that and you look at the coach. I think they grow in lockstep.
How does Sweeney's extension impact this decision? Because, okay, he got the extension, but it's only for 2 years. How much of that is going to factor into his thoughts on this and for the team as a whole and the structure going forward?
Well, it's such a critical hire for Don and for the organization that if, okay, let's say things don't start off well for whoever the new coach is. Well, who's going to pay the price? Yes, Don has 2 additional years of security going through 2028, but let's say 2020 this upcoming season, okay, well, whatever happens. But then what if it bleeds into the next year? Well, then who's going to be made accountable? Most likely it's going to be Don. So yes, I think it builds in some security, but we all knew that this was going to be under Don's watch in terms of trying to rebuild here, just because like what organization would say, okay, green light, Don, go trade your captain, go trade Frederick, go trade Brazo, go trade Carlo, Coyle, go on down the line, and then we're going to hand it off. That wasn't going to happen. Like, regardless of whether he was entering his last season of his contract, of his previous contract, without an extension in place. Like, this was Don's project to see through. So, yes, some security there, but again, this has shifted. It's not going to be on the coach again. I don't think he's going to be in a position to make another dismissal. That this is under his watch, and it's his job to execute it and see it through.
Having gotten some distance between the end of the regular season and now, do you feel any differently about the way the Bruins would attack free agency, or you still feel the same way?
Well, I think that's their most viable and credible and really most reasonable path toward rebuilding, because, okay, maybe they still have a few assets in place that you can use for trade. For example, like Pavel Zacha kind of fits that profile of a good player under reasonable contract for, I think he still is under for 2 or 3 years, multi-position player, and those are valuable. But then you look at it from the Bruins perspective, how many NHL players are they short right now? I'd say like they have to get a half dozen, like legit, real NHL varsity players, and he's absolutely one of them. He's top 6 forward for this team all day. So you look at it from that perspective, like I don't know that they're in a position to trade. And you brought in all these future assets, like you're not going to trade like the first round pick you got for Brad from Florida right now. Like these are still pieces that you need to rebuild the prospect pool. So like every team, they're going to have money available, more money available with the cap going up. Perhaps there's a design for an offer sheet if they see somebody that's vulnerable in terms of being closer to the cap than they are. But yeah, legitimately, like spending is the way to go on July 1st. And we saw like that didn't really go their way last July 1st. So there's risk involved.
Yeah, and the biggest name out there is Mitch Marner. He's the one that everyone's writing about right now. What do you think the price on him would be, and where do you think that he's someone that you should spend a lot of money on based on where you are in this kind of retool?
I think he'll be the highest paid player. What Draisaitl, I think, is at $14 million with the cap going up, and like. How often do you hear? You don't see players like that become available. He is like, can you imagine having Pastrnak one shift and then follow up with Marner the second shift? And he does so many things. Okay, you can say like that player and the rest of his Toronto teammates didn't get it done for how many years in the playoffs, but that's an incredible, talented skill set there. So yeah, you have to inquire. Now, is it worth it to spend so much of your capital on one player when you're in this position? That's really hard to say. How you have to weigh in how much of an impact does one player make versus, let's say, 3 or 4 that you can get. Certainly lower tier, but again, going like how many players? Like what is it? 5? I think they have 5 forwards under contract right now for next year. So just so many holes to fill in terms of real NHL players. And as the playoffs show every year, like what makes a difference? Of course it's stars, but it's also depth. There's no depth to be seen for the Bruins right now.
Would David Pastrnak be upset if they brought someone in that made so much more money than him?
I hadn't thought of that. I don't think so. I remember talking to David when he was going through his negotiation, his last year of his deal, and he could have made a case. Like I remember asking him, do you want to be the highest paid player in the league? And he said, no, that wasn't a priority. And proof goes to show that it wasn't. Like I think he could have really made a case. Like imagine if he had gotten to July 1st that year, not re-signed, like how many teams would raise their hands for David? So I don't know. He just strikes me, and you guys know what type of personality he is. He just always a smile, always like never a bad day at the rink, just comes to do his job. I think he's kind of just his own lane. Just I'm happy here. I'll do my thing. If somebody else is getting paid way more, so be it.
All right. Well, Fluto, it's going to be an interesting time as we wait on the coach and anticipate July 1st. Thank you so much for the time, everyone. Read Fluto in The Athletic.
Bye, guys.
All right, take it easy.
Fluto.
There you go.
He's
Fluto.
right. You got Pastrnak, Lindholm, Middlestad, Zaka, and Kastelik. Those are the 5 forwards they have under contract. You got two-way guys like Patra, Lizell, and Fraser Minton. But, Geeky's a restricted free agent. Lauko, Beecher, Hustadinov, they're all restricted free agents. It's wild, the challenge that Don Sweeney has in front of him. He has to get a coach first, but July 1st isn't that far away. It's almost I don't know how he's going to do this.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he can fire another coach, as we discussed.
Right.
That
He has to hit a
option
home
is
run
off the
with this
table.
one. Oh, yeah.
Well, this guy's going to outlast him, or at least be on the same timeline. This is the last coach you can fire. Because think if you were the owner of the team. I would say Cassidy and Montgomery are pretty good coaches, and they've gone off and had a lot of success. I don't know. It's not the coach. We've established now it's not the coach. Like the reason this team wasn't living up to expectations was not due to coaching.
Because you had one guy do it one way, you fired him. You had another guy do it another way, you fired him. I mean, there are really only two options. You don't have a coach that does it wildly different from those two things. There may be coaches that are a mix of the two, but, I mean, those are the two ways to motivate players over the years, and you fired guys on both ends of the spectrum. So this coach can't fire. Regardless of how bad this team is, you got to have him here for 2, 3, 4 years, at least.
All right. Well, there you go. We will be back in just a moment.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Garrett Crochet allowed 1 run and struck out 12 hitters in 7 innings. Red Sox won in Atlanta 3-1. They take 2 out of 3 from the Braves. They're back home to play the Angels tonight. Richard Fitz will start. In other baseball news, Colorado lost again 5-3 to the Mets. They are 9-50. It is the worst Major League record through 59 games in the last 125 years. Stanley Cup Finals begin Wednesday night. Florida visits Edmonton, and the NBA Finals begin Thursday night in Oklahoma City with the Thunder set to host Indiana. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Oakers Technologies. From full IT infrastructure rebuild, security to everyday AV upgrades, do what thousands of companies have done and make Oakers your single-source IT partner. Get future ready at okers.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the
knock on wood. But I never had it yet.
No, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. And Stefan Diggs has now made it official. He is with Cardi B. They've gone on Instagram and made that official.
Oh, good.
Yes. Would you like to hear some information about it?
Please.
Hot off the presses today. Touchdown. Cardi B has made has made a relationship with NFL star Stefan Diggs, Instagram official, after her bitter divorce from Offset rages on. So she's in a bitter divorce with Offset. They share 2 kids, Offset, and then there's a bunch of other kids as well. She is been entangled in this bitter divorce due to Offset's reported infidelity. Okay? Well, Cardi B now has moved on. She's moved on to Stefan Diggs, and she has a picture of them on a boat, and they're smooching. Now, Cardi B has taken to her whole right leg, from knee to above her butt into her hip area, has been tattooed blue with red flowers.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
It's why do people do that to themselves? Why would a woman do that to herself? You have a perfectly nice leg and ass, and why are you putting coloring on it? It's not good. It's don't do that. If you want to get tattoos like on your arm, sleeves or anything, that's fine. Don't tattoo your chest or thighs.
Boy, she's showing it off in these photos too. It's like
she's very proud of her body.
Yeah, very proud of the tattoo.
John, you love big asses. I would imagine Cardi B is someone right up your alley.
Yeah, she's right there. She's middle of the road right there.
You have a rainbow of a racial spectrum. You don't care if black, white, Latino. You don't care.
Nope. You got it. You got it.
You got it. Would you prefer it non-tattooed or tattooed, or is
non?
Yeah,
non.
But what if it gives you some kind of visual idea of how big it is? Like it gives you perspective. Like the flower is so big because it's on her ass.
What if the added weight of the ink makes it more likely to be suffocated by the flesh?
Yeah, I don't think that's possible. Well, I think so.
There's images that she's put out of countless lush bouquets of roses given to her by Diggs. He gave her a very classy thousands of roses. Stefan Diggs using his money very wisely. He's over the moon with her. If I was a woman and someone gave me that many flowers, I would be like, this is a psychopath. Like stop it. Stop doing that. Like, hey, everybody, it's $100,000 in roses. No. No, give me the 100,000.
Yeah. One rose will be just fine. Just give me the cash with it.
All right. She says in this chapter 5 ... hello chapter 6. She captions the post of the flowers. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that this is her 6th husband?
That's what I would read it as, right?
Well, my dear, you're settling down too quickly. These vows, I'm questioning that you're taking these vows seriously. If this is your 6th marriage, who knows if it is with Cardi B or not?
6 boyfriends, 6 men she's ever been with?
I have a feeling, well, John, now we're getting really speculating. Yeah.
It's a very loving video she posted, too.
There's a video of her grinding her butt because everyone's obsessed with asses, and that's where the excrement comes out. And he's smacking her butt. She's telling him to smack her butt. And he's smacking it as told. Mm-hmm. She loves it. Are they on a boat, too? They live on a boat. They're like the guy from Malibu Express.
They love to sail.
Yeah. A source, though, it's not all a paradise. You saw that boat video where the women with the pink stuff that people are saying is Tusi came up to him. A source told that, and now everyone's coming up to me on the street literally and saying it's Tusi.
Okay.
Or at the gym and saying it's Tusi. Everyone's gone crazy for Tusi. I don't know what it is, but a source told the Daily Mail that the hitmanger was mad at her new man for, quote-unquote, flirting with the ladies. Quote, girls will throw themselves at him all the time, but she wishes he wouldn't be a scumbag and flirt back, she told the outlet. Still, it appears, though, that the new couple isn't letting a minor blip stand in the way of their new romance. And then she poses for a photo to put on Instagram on the boat. They love this boat. I'll tell you. They're like the Jimmy Buffetts of our generation. I wonder if they'll do A Pirate Looks at 40. They will do that kind of thing. Of course.
They'll be together by then. Don't worry. They'll still be there.
Her and Offset had several children.
Yeah.
Those two kids. Offset was in Migos,
Yeah. So you're saying Stephon Diggs and Cardi B are going to make a big run at this? Diggs is what, 31, 32? So you figure.
I think these two kids are going to make it.
Yeah.
In the latest development,
that's what my gut tells me.
The Bodak Yellow hitmaker claimed that Offset has only seen their youngest child, 8-month-old Blossom, a handful of times since the new baby's arrival in September.
See, that's sad.
So she had a kid 8 months ago, and in February she was out with Diggs. So May, April,
4 months.
4 months. So 4 months after she had a kid, Stephon Diggs was hitting that. Gross. That's too soon after a birth. You can tell it's not his kid because if he had seen the baby come out, he wouldn't have been nowhere near there at 4 months after. How long a respite did you fellas take after the first child?
It was at least 4.
I can't imagine my wife at the time like going out 4 months later and like looking for a guy to bang her. Like, you just had a kid, and Offset's not even coming by. You got to imagine it's hard for her to handle all these kids. Offset's gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, how are they all this time on the boat? The kids are, they're on the other end of the boat.
Sure,
they're doing.
That's where the nanny is up front.
No, there's no nanny.
The bow.
There's no nanny. They're learning the ways of the sea.
Got it.
I'm not sure that boat ever left dock, by the way. Everything that I see where it's light of day, they seem to be docked.
Yeah, they're not like moving across the open water.
No. In the pictures of her, in the pictures of him, they're all docked. It's like they rented this boat to dock it. Just so they could take. It's like they got it. I wonder if they got it just to take pictures and put them up on Instagram.
Yeah, I wonder.
It's a fascinating thing, but you got lots of flowers. And if you're a girl and you want lots of flowers, please let me know, because to me it would seem very creepy to get that many flowers from someone. Like, it's too much. Like a very inappropriate gift especially if you just came out Instagram official.
It's kind of inconsiderate. So you got to cut the stems off all those. You got to open up those little flower food packages for all of them. You got to find vases for all of them. Who needs it?
Very labor intensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too much.
It's too much. And then, then she's got to tend to her own rose garden, which I've heard is a big hobby of hers. All right. Well, did we ever get in touch with the guy that we
yes,
did?
Nick was able to get the guest that you're looking for, and he can join us.
Well, look at us. All right, Ryan, I will need the original Lift Shats audio, because yesterday Lift Shats came after us. Was it yesterday?
It was yesterday, yes.
It came after us because of our failed bit. But if this guy comes on, it will be failed no longer, and we can hear what Lift Shats had to say about us, and then we can get down to business with a scientist. We'll be back in just a moment.
Garrett Crochet struck out 12 over 7 strong innings to pick up the win, and Alex Cora sent him back out there for the 7th despite his 99 pitches through 6.
Really good, really good. He's been doing this all season. These are the outings that when you look back at the Mets one, right, we got to pick and choose, and at that point it looked like, okay, what are they doing? But there's a reason, for us to be aggressive, understanding now that we got Thursdays off and he's going to get an extra day. We can be more aggressive. We push him to the limit, and he did an outstanding job.
Sox wind up beating the Braves twice in 3 games over the weekend. Richard Fitz will pitch tonight at Fenway Park against the Angels. Sox also yesterday placed primary setup man Justin Slayton on the injured list with shoulder fatigue. Top prospect Roman Anthony went 1 for 5 for the Worcester Red Sox in Scranton yesterday. And at the French Open tennis tournament, 4th round play ongoing in Paris. American Coco Gauff among your winners so far this morning. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Visit the Nines the day after the Red Sox win, like today, and get a free kids meal after with every adult entree purchased. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 98.5sportshub.com. Half Toucher.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider. No such thing. We got the exact opposite. We just got some hippie lady, and it was a big disaster.
She's very nice. She called long distance from Florida.
Yeah.
Long distance
She's
charges.
at some weird, cheap place in Florida. But they, nonetheless, it was. I had a feeling Lifshitz was going to take his victory lap after our failed bit. And I guess this happened yesterday. None of the fault should lie upon me, for I said no hippies. And a hippie was presented in front of me. It's like if you have someone who's lactose intolerant and you pour milk down their throat, it's going to have bad issues, So here is Joe and Dan Lifshitz. They make them do shows on Sunday. We love Joe. But this is Joe and Dan Lifshitz, and Lifshitz taking his victory lap, apparently. I did not hear this.
I love on our YouTube, it just says Joe Murray and Lifshitz.
Found it.
Shout out to our YouTube fam. Riz wants to thank me for paying your salary today, which I'm not doing.
What'd he say?
Riz thinks I'm paying your salary.
Oh, okay.
Because, he loves us, Dan. He loves us. I know that.
Whatever. I don't care.
Well, I could have at least got breakfast for us, which I didn't do. But you know what? Someday, Dan, the next time you're in, I know you eat healthy now.
I eat way too healthy.
What would be like, Jeff, I know you'll
no
take
chicken
that.
and waffles.
I know, I got
chicken and waffles?
Jeff chicken and waffles last time. Hey, Dan, I got chicken and waffles and carrot cream cake. What the hell? What was that cake that they gave us?
Yeah, that's right. It was carrot cake.
Shout out to In a Pickle Restaurant.
What the hell is going on over there during the Sundays? It's just a buffet. Like they can't even figure out what the last meal that came to them was. It's a Sunday morning or Sunday. When did Joe does Sundays?
10 to 2.
Yeah.
10to 2 yesterday.
This is in the 10 o'clock hour.
Who's that hungry at that hour?
I don't know, but I mean, they don't even. Not only do they get food all the time, they don't even know where the food's coming from. Is it chicken waffles? Is it Mr. Pickles? They don't know. They're just reminiscing over the many feasts that they've had over the various Sundays. Boy, Joe loves food. Hachi machi.
Wow, that sounds phenomenal.
I called ahead of time and they were like, "We'll take care of you," and then they gave me a giant carrot cake.
That sounds
for breakfast.
Joe called and they said, "We'll take care of you." I wonder why they'd take care of him. Oh, because he would mention it for the rest of his life.
Carrot cream cake.
If you're a restaurant and Joe calls you, best give Joe the food for free. Believe me, he'll make it. You'll get it. You'll get it back and then some. One carrot cake, you'll get, I don't know, $400,000 of advertising for one carrot cake. But we still haven't gotten to where Dan took his victory lap, which I knew was coming.
That still sounds phenomenal. No, for me, for breakfast, I am pretty much strictly a fruit guy. So, I'll do...
Ooh, like a parfait?
No, like oranges. I'll, unwrap, peel an orange.
He peels it, you see.
Yeah.
He doesn't eat it with the peel on. He unpeels the orange before he eats
Well,
it.
if you're not in the fruit game, then you have to know how to do these.
Well, it's part of burning the calories too, is peeling the orange.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's one of those. It's one of those net negative foods.
one of the keys of sounding smart is giving like even the most obvious detail.
If you expend more energy preparing and then digesting the food.
Absolutely. But it is a key to sounding intelligent is you just over-explain everything.
On Rob, I peel an orange. I'll do maybe some strawberries.
Do you ever put it in a blender and drink it?
No.
No?
No, it's not. I'm not.
Oat milk? Or do you drink milk?
No. Fun fact, at least, again, I'm sure people disagree. Anything that isn't just like natural whole milk is actually like horrendously bad for you because they cut it with
Okay, let's go to our doctor. I didn't know this was here. Dennis, hello.
What's up, boys? Good morning.
All right, so you are a real doctor. You emailed us before. You're a real doctor.
Real doctor, absolutely.
Okay, a man with a doctorate in science. You have a doctorate of science.
Proud graduate of Tufts Medical School and the Harvard School of Public Health.
That deserves a round of applause.
I'm not even getting to the real stuff yet. All right, react to this statement by Dan.
Anything that isn't just like natural whole milk is actually like horrendously bad for you because they cut it with seed oil.
Is that true?
I don't believe that's true. I think, personally, I'm not a milk drinker. I don't know why adult human beings would need to drink cow's milk. So I typically, and there's actually quite a bit of medical literature associating high levels of milk consumption with certain cancers. So I'm not a fan of whole milk for my patients.
All right, so Dan is telling people actually the opposite of what they should be doing. All right, here we go.
Dan, I don't want to talk about this.
That's okay. We don't have to talk about it.
Someone's going to call a doctor, and then it's just...
We're going to call a doctor. We're going to talk about how I know nothing, and then maybe...
Well, no, it's not about you know nothing.
I know.
Just get a damn doctor if you're going to do it.
I know, and then I for whatever reason, the morning show hasn't contacted me over that take. I don't know why.
Oh, that is absolutely not true. We've contacted Dan to come on the show several times, and Dan refuses to come on our show.
I don't know why. All I know is you were talking about being one with the... What's it called again? Grounding?
Yeah. Also, a lot of people call it earthing, but I think it's a really weird...
But I do agree that getting a doctor would have been... the bit, I think, would have worked if there was a doctor. Like a real doctor.
I guess. I think the bit would have worked if he was right.
We got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray. Liv Schatz is here, 98.5.
Right, so there is Dan's victory, but now we do have a doctor. All right, Dr. Dennis, our doctor friend, Harvard, Tufts. He's got all these things going for him. I'm just going to play you what Dan has to say. This is the very controversial thing that the hippie lady, I didn't even let her listen to it. I want you to react in real time to this, okay? Are you listening?
I can't wait to hear it.
Right.
I can't wait to hear it.
All right, here we go.
I ground every day. I put my feet on the ground. I ground and take the shirt off, get some sun every day. So my neighbors are probably hating it.
You ground?
Every day.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Grounding?
Grounding.
I've never heard of that.
Really?
Have you, Jeff?
Yeah. There's a legit scientific thing. It completely changes the scientific molecular structure of your cells.
Okay. Does standing in the dirt with no shoes change the molecular structure of your cells?
Of course not. Of course not. That's absurd. And it's just. I mean, there's no medical or scientific basis for that.
Are you positive? I mean, it sounds like it would work. Standing in dirt doesn't dramatically change the molecular structure of the cells of a human body.
If it were only that simple, Fred.
Okay. Well,
are you telling me after 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school, and then additional years at Harvard, you never covered this and found some reason to believe that grounding is the key to health and happiness?
There's always some bad paper or bad science somewhere that will say something, but I don't think this is far from accepted medical canon. Let's put it that way.
And let me tell everyone, I don't doubt that, standing with your bare feet on the earth. When I hear grounding, I think it's some kind of spiritual thing or some kind of meditative thing.
I think Giselle talking about how she's
but I could see like connection to the earth, and it has some spiritual connotation, or it's a meditative thing where you're present and walking on some all that. I get the
right.
issue. Yes.
No, I'm a total believer in meditation.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. My problem lies in now all of a sudden it's changing the molecular structure. All right, he continues. All right, here we go.
It's kind of a combination of like keto, but with a few other things. But I don't eat like certain things anymore. So like I won't eat any pork, which sucks. I love pork.
So no pork, huh?
No pork at all.
No, none.
No pork.
So much for the clock, but go ahead. This is interesting.
Right? So the only thing I drink is water. I have salt water mostly.
So just water, nothing
Nope.
carbohydrated,
Nope.
no seltzers.
I don't drink anymore.
No alcohol.
Which sucks. I've missed drinking. I don't drink anymore. I just have water, mostly salt water.
All right, that sounds reasonable, but is salt water better for you than water?
Like salt water, like he takes a cup and dips it in the ocean and takes a swig.
He adds salt, like the salt to his water. I don't know. Is that real?
I don't think. I mean, drinking like actual salt water could actually be dangerous if you drink it in high quantities. Drinking like electrolyte infused water, would that be considered salt water? I guess I'm unclear.
All right, we're all unclear. We're all unclear.
Just go with it.
Yeah, just go.
Lemon juice in there, and it's some organic lemon juice, and it basically tastes like Gatorade without the sugar. So I have that mostly, and I just organic steak, A2 butter, organic potatoes, porzingas, a couple of those things. But yeah, for the most part, I really don't eat all that much. I just have a lot of protein, a lot of veggies, and it's been phenomenal for me. Everyone says like, don't eat red meat, don't use butter. It's like the exact opposite of actually what everything you're taught is pretty much everything the exact opposite of what's actually supposed to be.
Okay, is it true that you should only eat red meat and butter?
Yeah, again, that's I would say that is in complete contrast to how I would recommend people eat. I mean, I think that there's quite a bit of scientific literature associating consumption of red and processed meats with bad outcomes, heart disease, and colorectal cancer in particular. So, I definitely, that's kind of basic mainstream medical thinking. Lots of red meat, lots of saturated fat is probably bad for you. And I completely fall into line with that. So I don't agree with what he's saying there.
But he is on Reddit a lot. Okay, we continue with Dan's lessons in health.
No seed oil. That's the other big part. No seed oils.
That's not wrong, is it? Seed oils are bad for you, aren't they?
I don't know much about that. To be perfectly honest,
because this didn't strike me as controversial.
The American Heart Association has an article posted on seed oils saying that this is another example of the internet demonizing something for no reason.
But in the sea of saying your molecules change by standing in the dirt, I'll let the seed oil fly. All right, here we go.
At all, I will not do seed oil. So. No, I don't do oils at all. I don't do olive oil either, but no seed oils, especially. Seed oils are so bad for you, dude. Like horrendously bad. That if you just drop seed oils, you'd probably drop 50 pounds yourself.
Well, is that true? If you just stopped having seed oil, would you lose 50 pounds?
I highly doubt that's true. I wish it was that simple that I could just tell people to stop eating seed oil and they would magically be skinny.
Okay, can I just ask you this? Losing weight is consumption of burning calories is greater than your consumption of calories. Is that the easiest way of putting it?
I think generally so. I think we're seeing more and more that there are some metabolic factors that go into it. When our insulin becomes dysregulated, we tend to maybe more favorably store fat, and there is that whole like metabolic piece is definitely a part of it. But certainly caloric restriction is and calories in versus calories out is the cornerstone of losing weight.
Yeah, it just always seems that we're trying to find like a magic bullet to like eliminate seed oil, and then like that's what's making you fat.
But in reality, it's eating less and exercising more.
Right. And
well, that's just it. And it's very simple. And no one can make a fortune. No one's going to like sell a book. No one's going to be able to promote something by just telling you these like cornerstone, basic, boring principles of health. But they're pretty simple, and they're very basic.
Yeah, but you're part of the mainstream medical community, so
Right.
I had to take you with a grain of salt. All right, here, which I'm going to put in my water.
Grounding, also known as earthing.
Yep.
is a practice where your body makes direct contact with the Earth's surface.
Yep.
The contact could be through walking barefoot,
I don't do that.
touching the ground, or using specialized devices to connect to the Earth.
Can lay down on the ground or just like take your shoes off in the backyard. I don't walk like on the sidewalk. I'm not like a caveman. It does change the molecular structure of your cells. 100%.
Molecular
structure of your cells.
with lift sheds.
Yes.
I would think walking would be the best thing that you could do, but
Once again, Dr. Dennis, there's another assertion here that walking barefoot or standing barefoot changes the molecular structure of the cells.
No, that is absolutely not true in my understanding. That's totally off base.
how do molecules change? Why would that even be a theory?
I don't honestly. I don't know. Like, certainly, like exercising and eating right can change your metabolism. It can affect how your cells function. I mean, again, it's a simple, basic thing of how.
But you're moving and eating. Right. This is just standing on something.
No.
So, is there any way your body can absorb minerals from the earth through the feet that could change the molecules in your body?
Not that I'm aware of. I think that's way out there.
They didn't teach you that at Harvard or Tufts.
They did not. They did not teach us that. If I missed that day, I apologize.
All right, and so I was right to question this, and probably doing a service for humanity, telling people that you can't change the molecules of your body just by standing on dirt.
Yeah, don't stop it.
Because the cells are dead on your bottom of your feet anyway, right?
I don't think much gets absorbed. I mean, through the bottom of your feet. I mean, something, I guess, to have dermal absorption or to be super toxic. I don't see that as a realistic pathway towards affecting your metabolism in any particular meaningful way.
All right. Well, you should have been with us 2 weeks ago, my friend. I like a man of science and not some hippy dippy lady calling in with no degree.
It's very simple. Eat right. Exercise, you don't have to run the marathon. Just get any kind of exercise, sleep well, maintain healthy relationships. That's the cornerstone of health. There's nothing fancy or sexy about it.
Well, the last part's too difficult. All right. Thank you, doctor. We appreciate it. Stay in touch, would you? We appreciate everything.
Absolutely. Great to talk to you. Thank you.
All right. There you go. The great doctor.
Dr. Dennis, we'll call him.
Dr. Dennis.
Yeah.
It's like Dr. Nick.
There you go. I don't know his last name, and I don't know if he wants us to tell
I'm not
it.
going to. I'm going to have it here, but yes, he's from his emails and stuff. Yes, he is who he says he is.
So to give Dan credit, he lost a lot of weight, and if he did it the way he's saying he did it, then that's fine. And that wasn't even what I have the issue with. And if someone wants to stand on the ground with their shoes off and find it makes them happy, again, I'm 50. I don't have a problem with these things. Like, there's things we can't explain, but then it's when you get into this kind of bored, monotone, like, explaining, and it changes the molecules in your body. Like, that's when it's like Dan's just spouting this stuff from the internet, It bugs me. But he had a right to take a victory lap because it was a disastrous bit the time before. But all I wanted was a doctor to say,
there you have it.
Does it change the molecules in your body? And there's not a sea of doctors calling to refute this doctor. That's the conversation I would have had right when we get on the phone. What are you? I'm a doctor from where? Tufts and Harvard. The last lady was from Framingham State. Mm-hmm. She was in the sewing class.
She was on vacation. Called in
somewhere on Western Florida that we'd never heard of.
Right
before.
off the coast. It was a gorgeous area.
Yeah, it was real nice.
I do like the seed oil thing though, just because the first thing I looked up. Our seed oil's bad. And the American Heart Association, Dr. Christopher Gardner from Stanford says, it's so odd that the internet has gone wild demonizing these things. They are not to be feared.
But the thing is if you're just removing something from your diet, that's your decision. It's not like wild. Like, okay, so you believe seed oils are bad for you and you're not eating them. That's fine. When it's preposterous is I'm standing. The secret to me losing weight and being healthy is all this stuff I did with my diet. And standing with my shoes off on the ground. Like, that's where it gets crazy.
Well, if you don't change the molecules, you might as well not do any of it.
That's where it's nonsense. And it's so obviously nonsense. And that's why I knew if you get any doctor, they're going to go, that's not how molecules change. Like, anything you don't want to eat or you want to eat, that's up to you. But don't tell me standing in the dirt all of a sudden starts, like, making everything in your body work better. No way.
You walk your dog barefoot and look at you. You're a mess.
Exactly. I stand on the grass all the time, and it hasn't done no good for me. No, but I understand grounding as a meditative or spiritual practice, because that can't be quantified. That's between you and your power, or you and your body. But you start bringing science that I
right.
Yeah, listen, I know what is this? I know that you've got emphysema. Have you tried standing in dirt? You know, I know you got those tubes in your in your nose because you can't breathe. Have you tried standing in dirt?
Sure.
There you go. So we have found our doctor, and now victory is ours as we take our own victory lap in response to his victory lap. All right, we'll be back.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The
$50.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
And the Eastern Conference Championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers. You can hear the crowd. They are just ecstatic.
I forgot to tell you, we're going in a little bit different direction here. All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. Jonathan Pierre LeBron, who's a big wig NHL writer. We had Fluto Shinzawa on. He was great last hour, talking about the coaching candidates, their similarities, talking about free agency, how to build this team. What does Pierre LeBron have for
We
us?
have actually two small pieces of information that are new this morning. One from Pierre LeBron, who covers the NHL for The Athletic, and another one from Elliot Friedman, who's really tied in up in Canada. Pierre LeBron tweeted out about 15 minutes ago, expect the Bruins to announce their coaching hire early this week. And that goes along with the lines of what Fluto told us. My understanding, this is according to Pierre LeBron, my understanding is they're down to two candidates. He doesn't say who the candidates are. They did in-person final interviews with candidates last week. And Elliot Friedman, who records 32 Thoughts podcast.
Of course.
Every morning, not every
It doesn't
morning.
need to be said.
It's hockey news. But he said this
From a
morning
bedroom.
in Boston, since our last pod, I believe Joe Sacco was told he would not stay as the head coach of the Boston Bruins. So I asked Fluto that. Fluto wasn't sure whether or not Sacco was involved. This would seem, and rightfully so, to eliminate him from that equation. But the new news is they're down to two candidates. Joe Sacco is not one of them, and we should find out early this week who the new head coach is.
I imagine about 10:01 this morning is when you'll find out.
I was going to say 10:01 Tuesday morning.
Yeah, it certainly won't be. It is odd. It's a little bit of a joke around here, but generally not on Fridays. That's a news dump. But news dumps are like 5 o'clock on a Friday. But big things that teams want out or like news outlets want out come out at 10 a.m. That's not a joke. It's just that's how it lines up because they want like a full news cycle and they think they're throwing it away in the morning. So all this stuff comes out at 10 a.m. But then a guy who really upset the cart was Belichick because we found out about Belichick getting fired during the show.
Yeah.
We found out about a bunch of stuff during the show.
Yeah.
We found out about
Brady
little
leaving.
Cub production, troubled Cub production.
Right.
Yeah, we had the breaking news during the show of Jordan being banned from the North Carolina football facility.
Yeah, it was a lot of exciting things. And it was the same day, or it was a couple days later, we had Pablo Torre on to talk about just about that. The thing about Sacco is this, I don't know anything about him. I don't doubt that he could probably be an NHL head coach. He might even be a good one, but not Bruins. They couldn't keep him. They couldn't. They got it. We talked about it before. Sweeney's got 2 years left. The last deal he signed was 4. So obviously he's on a tighter leash, and this is the last coach. We talked about it with Fluto, and Fluto agrees. This is the last coach he can hire, basically. This is it. You can't fire any more coaches. You've had your chance. The coaches you fired have gone on to success with other teams. They're apparently opposite in coaching styles. They want a young 45, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
The young, kind of charismatic guy who's open to like new ideas involving data and analytics and things like that, which I can imagine are a real pain in the ass to get in hockey.
It's interesting. Everyone was on board. The guy from Dallas, Misha Donskoff. Dallas has been out for more than a few days. It's more than enough time for the Bruins to bring him in. We haven't heard his name at all from any of these guys. And Elliot Friedman, going back to him, he thinks that Joe Sacco could wind up in Toronto. They need an associate head coach. Their associate head coach just hires the head guy in Seattle, so he thinks that's where Sacco will land.
Yeah, if you're Sacco, you got to take the interim job, even if you know you're not going to get it, because at least you get it on your resume.
Yeah.
And there was no losing for him. Like no one's putting them not making the playoffs on Sacco.
Yeah, he wasn't a disaster. He went in and he took over, and he probably got at least a handful of people to say that he did a good job with what he was handed.
Well, when he first started, they got that little bump. He stood on the bench every day with a suit on. I mean, that was all he could basically do in that situation. By the way, if you are, in this dead time of sports, looking to have some fun, there's 1972, the Russian hockey team played the Flyers, and the Flyers just took a series of incredible open ice cheap shots on them. They're not even really cheap shots. It's like the Russians obviously weren't used to getting hit in open ice. So, like, there's a series of about a minute of just Russian players getting waylaid. And remember the 72 Flyers, that's all they did. They were, like, bad for the NHL.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of tough. They were tough for the NHL, and that was an incredibly tough league back then. They ended up leaving the ice, and they just walked away. They forfeited the game, the Russians. They just ended up leaving. It's just a series of these toothless dudes on the Flyers taking open ice shots on Russians. And then the Russian coach, through a translator, asked to speak to the ref, and the ref talks to him, and then everyone just leaves. The Russians just leave, and the announcers are slightly tilted to the Flyers.
No helmets. Just...
No. Just knocking guys
helmets.
down. No helmets.
No
yeah,
helmets back then.
Actually, no. The Russians are wearing helmets. I'm looking
there
at
you
it.
go.
But no one on the Flyers or any of the officials are. And the thing is that it's comical because the Russians don't think that you can be hit just standing on the ice.
Yeah.
Like, I guess they think you have to be going after the puck or something like that. And the Flyers are not playing that brand of hockey. They're going, if you're standing around, we're going to hit you.
Those Flyer teams were really good, too. Those Flyer teams, I think, won at least one cup, maybe two in the early mid-'70s.
Well, Bobby Clark, who's a total psycho on those teams. But, that wasn't such a good idea having the Russian team come in and play them. That seemed to be something that could go sideways quickly. And I actually don't blame the Russians for leaving. Because it's better that than die, I suppose. So there you go. All right. Well, so we look forward to the announcement for the new Bruins head coach probably coming about 10:01. All right. With these teams, now we know that it's Indiana and Oklahoma City. So don't worry. No one else is going to be watching it. You won't have to follow the series either. Heavy Vegas odds for it to go 5 or less. Heavy. It's like minus money.
All the numbers, all the numbers line up that way.
Yeah,
too.
5.5, 5.5 games. And the only reason I bring up gambling is the idea that there is, if you're just curious on how far this is going to go, Oklahoma City, and then talks about with the second apron teams looking to make a major splurge this offseason. Obviously, Giannis is on the table. And who knows, Jaylen Brown could be on the table. There's a lot of opportunities for people.
A lot of teams in the East are looking to make moves because the Celtics are on their way down. They have to shed salary. They're not going to be nearly as good without Tatum. The Knicks certainly look beatable. Indiana, while they made the finals, no one expected them to get this far, and they don't really have a superstar. Halliburton's really good, but they don't. So a lot of teams that are in the fair to middling category are possibly looking to make moves this summer. Not just one, but many. And you mentioned Toronto. Toronto's one of those teams. I was reading this last night. They're looking to make a major move. They dumped salary. I mean, they got rid of Siakam. There's Kawhi Leonard many years ago. Fred VanVleet went to Houston, and now they are ready to rebuild. And one of the guys they're looking at is Giannis. One of the guys they're looking at, they're going to ship off a lot of picks and a lot of players for Giannis. That's the thing. That's the new rumor this morning.
Yeah, because the era of having a big three is completely gone. Because I heard someone on national radio debating if Oklahoma City had a big three with Gilgeous-Alexander, J-Dub, as they call him.
And Holmgren.
Yep. And that, I would say, is an emphatic no. And Indiana doesn't even have a big one. So, the idea now is both these teams, both these teams' biggest strength? It's depth. And that's what beat the Knicks was the depth of the Pacers. And the Oklahoma City's incredibly deep. What do they play, 9 guys, John? They 8, 9 guys?
9 guys.
So, when you can come out defensively in waves like that.
The other part of it is you can play as many guys as you want, but you have to be good defensively in today's NBA. Indiana is a great offensive team, but Oklahoma City is so good defensively. They're going to wipe them out.
And to keep up that defensive pace, you have to be deep. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Celtics choose to build this, because I just kind of want it to happen because it'd be fun to talk about. But trading Brown and getting assets in return, future assets and young assets in return, because the future of the NBA might be Jason Tatum and another guy who could be an all-star, but not like, a perennial all-star like J-Dub. And J-Dub, he hits the three the three money ball.
Yeah.
Cha-ching. I'm referring to
Who's
the
that Thunder Moneyball?
I'm referring to the Oklahoma City Thunder radio broadcaster who's objectively awful. Fred, you're negative. Yeah. But this guy sucks. Real bad. We hate playing the hot. Well, now we've grown to love it. And then if you look at Indiana, they don't even have a star. So
they have a lot of guys who are good at a few things. Neesmith, three-point shooting, good defensively. Miles Turner, at once upon a time, led the NBA in block shots. Good, to slightly above average center. And you have a Halliburton, who is the end-of-the-bench player. Didn't play at all in the Olympics, but he was the last guy on the team. So is he a top 10 player? No. Not really.
No.
Not really.
No chance.
But he's in between 10 and 15, 10 and 17, and he's their number one star. So you couple all those people with a good coach, and then you're in business. But getting back to the Celtics, Fred, it's not going to be one move. It can't be. It has to be. You were talking about it would be fun to talk about this team. Just trading Jaylen Brown or just trading Porzingis, you have to make multiple moves to reshape this roster.
I also heard a debate if this is the biggest offseason of Brad Stevens' career, and they put qualifiers on everything. I understand, but it is an interesting thought.
This is the biggest offseason as far as expectation is concerned. All those moves he made, like no one expected him to trade Marcus Smart and bring in Drew Holiday or bring in Kristaps Porzingis. All of this was under the radar. Now you've won a championship. You came up short. Spotlight's right in your face. What are you going to do? It's obvious you have to do something. Now let's see what happens.
Yeah, and the Tatum injury, while it sucks for Tatum and it sucks for the new owner and it sucks for the fans, it makes it even more interesting because he's not going to be himself for at least a year and a half. I mean, that's even being a little optimistic.
Yeah.
And so you have that like purgatory time, which how do you want to do it? Do you want to be a play-in team? Do you want to be even like the 6th seed? Or what benefits you the most? Like you're most likely not winning it. You're not going to win a title. I mean, you're just not going to win a title without Tatum.
No.
And the moves you have to make despite that, because you're still obviously carrying Tatum's salary.
And it's the other moves.
It's the other moves too. So what's better? And you don't want to play to lose. I'm not saying that, but I wouldn't make. Here's how I'll put it. I wouldn't make moves to stay out because I definitely want to be a play-in team, right? Like I need to be a play-in team. Like if I feel it's a difference of like 3 or 4 games. I'm not, because that's, let's say it's a win above replacement.
Sure.
If I think it's a difference of 3 or 4 games, like I'm not keeping a guy just for that if I feel I can build for the future.
But the one thing I wouldn't do either, Fred, is automatically say, okay, whatever we do, even if it's not for a play-in spot next year, it's all based around being ready for Tatum when he's ready, whether it's 9 months, a year and a half from now. If that includes moving on from Jaylen Brown, and I know the structure is different, and I know that you're not going to have any big threes anymore. You may not even be able to have a big 2, but to move on from Jaylen Brown and to put all your chips in on the return of Jason Tatum and that being your team, I wouldn't do that. I would do everything in my power to make sure you keep Jaylen Brown also, because you don't know what Tatum is going to be like. And again, not to beat this dead horse over and over again, the one championship you did win was because of Jaylen Brown, not the way Jason Tatum played in the conference finals and the finals.
Okay, but the problem with keeping Brown and Tatum is that you're so restricted in terms of how you fill out the rest of the team. I mean, that's over $100 million in salary, and now I'm like...
It's going to be really difficult to do.
I got to get 13 more guys.
For $140 million.
For $140 million.
Or
and
less, yeah.
And that's the total antithesis of these teams that are playing for a final right now. These teams are...
Yeah.
You know,
They're doing it with one, and
yeah,
that's
they're
the
doing
thing.
it with one guy and
The
then
future-
an incredible
that's-
amount of depth.
You want to know what the NBA future is? Take a look at the rosters of these two teams.
And that's why
this is before the real restrictions have come into place. This is the year where a hammerlock comes down. Both of these teams have one guy and then a bunch of guys who follow along behind them. So, more to Fred's point, it's going to be difficult to keep Jaylen Brown, but I think they're going to. I think they're going to keep Jaylen Brown.
Well, I don't know how they're going to fill the rest of the team out. But I understand also if you trade Brown, you have to get like salary back. But I mean, people have expiring contracts and stuff like that. They could do it.
One more thing, Giannis is not coming here. That was the thing over the weekend. That was the thing over the last 3 or 4 days. You know, Brian Windhorst was the guy who started this thing on Thursday or Friday during the Get Up program.
Why would they want a 30-year-old Giannis?
Well, the other part of it, just take age out of it. You can't take his salary.
No, I understand that, but I also am asking you why is that
to stay in theory now, even though it's not possible, to stay at that top level and make another run at a championship, even though Tatum's down.
But Tatum's salary isn't gone because he's hurt.
I know.
No.
You can't take that salary back considering the restrictions you're under in any way, shape, or form.
No. And how are they going to acquire him? With what assets?
Maybe Jaylen Brown out. I'm guessing.
Trade Jaylen Brown for
Giannis.
Giannis. Okay, because short of that.
Yeah.
And why would Milwaukee do that?
I don't know.
Because I just keep Giannis. Like if what's Brown 27? Like what?
I think he's
and
older.
Giannis is 30.
Yeah.
So why would I trade Giannis for a worse player making the same amount of money?
It's fun if you're playing NBA 2K, but it's not possible. It's not possible.
Well, it's also stupid for Milwaukee. If I'm trading Giannis, I'm completely rebuilding. That's the whole point. I'm getting a ton of future assets from like Oklahoma City did.
You're not doing it for just another max player.
I'm not just swapping for a worse guy. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Athletic is reporting at this hour that the Bruins are down to 2 candidates for their head coaching job after in-person final interviews last week. They are expected to announce their new hire early next week, or early this week, rather. Red Sox wrapped up their stay in Atlanta yesterday with a 3-1 win over the Braves. Garrett Crochet, 7 strong innings for the win. They'll play the Los Angeles Angels at Fenway Park tonight. And at the French Open tennis tournament, 4th-round play ongoing in Paris. Coco Gauff has already won today. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Charlie McAvoy, and Tuukka Rask. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9 o'clock.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
It's a thing.
All right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
No idea what you're talking about.
Here's more of The Thing on the Sports Hub.
The first time, but we did have a doctor on today, and now we're getting a bunch of emails about grounding. And it says, this is a nice one, so I went to get it out of the way. That I don't think this person's like a dick or anything. Not a doctor, nor not an expert. See, when you say it like that, I immediately you have my respect. Because Adam put something I thought very well, is that when Dan talks about things, he goes, this is, despite what they tell you.
Yeah.
Like they, the collective they, which is interesting because, like, who are they and why are they actively trying to hurt you? Now, I understand that there are financial interest in things of that nature, but you have to be very careful going down these rabbit holes of conspiracy theories. And the best person I've heard talk about is Mark Maron, because Mark Maron I never went through it, but I've seen it happen. Mark Maron went through it and like had to dig himself out of it, because the people I know that have gone conspiracy theory crazy have gone crazy, like institutionalized or dead. So that's a major red flag for me. If like one of my kids started like talking crazy conspiracy theories, like there's a healthy, inquisitiveness or what's the term I'm looking for? Like questioning authority.
I'm sorry. Not
curiosity
but...
or like questioning authority, like not buying everything everyone's telling you.
Pushing at things a little bit.
Yeah, there's a healthy, like informing yourself in the face of being told things, not taking everything at face value. That's essential to gaining knowledge, but this whole act of they are telling you, like the collective they.
Yes, and it's that whole idea too. This is a red flag for me, is what the other part I was telling you off the mic too, Fred. Anytime someone, and this is what I hear, I've not met Dan Lifshatz. I only hear the audio of him on the radio and what
he lost a lot of weight.
Which is good for him. I'm glad he's making healthy choices, but this whole idea of like things are this way and there's no question to the fact that it's this way, and anyone that says otherwise is foolish, which seems to be his take on most things. That's a red flag. Like if your whole approach to life is everything's a binary, it's either this way or that way, it's either us or them, that's a really unhealthy mindset to have in general, moving through the world and communicating with people.
Well, good luck playing checkers. So it says, not to be a doctor, not an expert, but couldn't there be something to the magnetic poles of the earth, that pole having an effect on metals, magnesium in Fred's case? I am full of it in your body. Now not wearing rubber shoes prevents the micromagnetic connection. Magnets do control the earth, and we have metal in our body. Who knows? All I know is this: it doesn't change your molecules. That they can look at with a microscope. That they know. That's something they know. They being the medical community. Like if you, there's, I don't want to get that into it, but look, there's things people tell you that is in their own self-interest and money, a lot of money on the line, and people tell you things. I don't think anyone's withholding standing in dirt. Like big pharma is like, if these people start standing in dirt, like, do I think pharmaceutical companies have your best interest in mind? Probably not. But I don't think that there's this wave of, we got to make sure these guys aren't standing on dirt, or else we're out billions. Like, do I think that they like keeping you fat? Maybe. I mean, what do I know? You got to make your own decisions. But I don't think standing on the dirt is the difference between your molecular structure being good or bad. I think you could stand on the dirt and die right there standing on the dirt. Just like you could die in the cockpit of a helicopter, baby. Which is the way to go.
Is that how you want to go?
Yeah. Red hot in a helicopter, really showing off. Dipping and diving. That's what I want to do.
Loop-de-loops.
Yeah.
Really showing off.
Yeah, a bunch of ladies getting crazy while I'm up there. And then right when they think they're going to have me, and I die. Too bad, ladies.
And they think about it for the rest of their lives.
And every time their putrid husband's sticking at him, thinking of me. That's the idea.
Word for that dang whirly bird.
I saw why God created man, and then he took it away instantly. He was whirly birding around doing flips. That's the way to go. Magnum PI style, I call it the PI, personal injury. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way.
FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Paisley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Athletic is reporting at this hour the Bruins are down to 2 candidates for their head coaching job after in-person final interviews last week. They are expected to announce their new hire early this week. Bruins assistant Jay Leach, Washington Capitals assistant Mitch Love, and former Bruins forward Marco Sturm were among those to visit with Don Sweeney last week. As for the Red Sox, they got another outstanding outing from Garrett Crochet yesterday. They beat the Braves in Atlanta 3-1. Crochet allowed 1 run and struck out 12 in 7 innings to pick up the win. And he got a boost from Trevor Story, who followed up his long homer on Friday night with a 3-run double in the very first inning.
Yeah, it feels good. To give him one right back didn't feel great, but it's from first pitch on. I'm on go mode after that. So yeah, it felt really good.
Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Braves. They're back home to play the Angels tonight. Former Patriots center David Andrews will officially announce his retirement at a press conference in Foxborough this afternoon. Former Celtic player and Providence College star Ryan Gomes has today returned to his school as their newest assistant basketball coach. And at the French Open tennis tournament, 4th round play ongoing in Paris with American Coco Gauff and men's 3-seed Alexander Zverev already among your winners. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180. Make a pledge not to buy bigger shorts this summer. Fit into last year's shorts or even last decade's shorts in just weeks with Awaken 180. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. And if you want to watch us on YouTube, you may.
1 for the trouble, 2 for the bass. You know the style tip. It's time to flip this. I like my beats hard like 2-day-old.
Oh, you censored it. I thought you were going to get in trouble. And just subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on Twitter. Now, am I the world's best flyer? Not according to an airline leaving Key West. But that was between me and another guy.
Is that the plane you got thrown off of, that one?
Yeah, but no one saw that but me and another guy, and he complained about me. But I was in the wrong.
Okay.
But it wasn't in air or while. It was at the very beginning of boarding. It was like at the very beginning.
Oh, so you're acting up before the flight even started.
The guy wouldn't answer you and you yelled at him.
Yeah, he was just completely ignoring me, and he was sitting this far. Look, I am the one to blame. But so I am even fallible in this. But this notion that we are to be entertained on flights. You see old TWA flights, and there is a literal a roast of some sort, and they're rolling it down the aisle. You're smoking. Everyone gets free drinks. Everyone's in a suit. It was a big to-do. And now you have in-cabin Wi-Fi. You have, remember when JetBlue was hot ass because they had the TVs?
Yeah.
Now everyone's got a TV. So there you go. You're in a tube. No one wants to be on it. It's not natural. You're in a tube. You are to not be bothered. You just get me through this.
Everyone knows what they're in for before they get on the plane. So they've got their headphones, they've got their noise canceling, they've got a book, they've got something to entertain themselves. Everybody is prepared.
Yeah, some pseudo intellectual with their books.
So there is
your written word.
I always bring
it out of here.
Get out of here with that.
Okay, so you know what I do believe.
Who do you think you are reading?
You know what I really believe? That if there was an authoritative a king, that and they could make any rule they want, they would have to hand everyone a Xanax before they got on the flight, and thereby everyone would just be not knocked out. They're not going to die, but and not drunk.
Everybody gets like a half a Xanny bar.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you get a milligram of Xanax.
You know what? You save money on flight attendants. You only need a couple.
Well, now here's the thing. Is that you're not serving alcohol. No one on Xanax is acting up.
Okay.
And you go, and they go, well, I'm a nervous flyer. You go, here's another Xanax. And then everyone is just on Xanax the whole time. Now, no Ambien, Because if you take Ambien, you end up like the guy from
Weird
REM.
stuff happens.
You
yeah.
start peeing on
Don't
the
want that,
beverage
no.
tray and things of that nature. So I do believe that they should just have a ton of Xanax on every flight. But that's me.
All right. So this is a flight to Orlando, and it was initially delayed for 2 hours because of bad weather.
Oh, because so now you're raring to go because you got to be an adult that's going to Disney World,
right? So you're
without any kids.
You're,
So you're already missing out on park time fun.
you're already in a great mood.
This is all this time I could be with Lilo and Stitch, and here I am just like an idiot waiting for the plane to take off.
So imagine the flight's delayed for 2 hours. You actually get into Orlando airspace. You're delayed for another 2 hours as it circles your destination city.
Which is the worst of all of it, because you're not, at least when you're moving, you feel like you're accomplishing something.
And I mean, if the pilot hasn't announced it, you're on a Delta flight, so you know where you are because you're following that little map.
And
I
also,
love that little map.
if they have to circle long enough and fuel becomes an issue, that means you're landing at another airport because they can't take you at that airport,
Yep.
which means that you might not get to Orlando at all. Like now you're talking about, because I have to fly to Knoxville and they don't fly direct from Boston. I mean, there are instances where they'll divert to another airport. You'll land and there's no flights to Knoxville for like 2 days.
Yep.
So like you're renting, like when I made my parents come get me in Nashville, get me and my family.
Right. Well, you do that regardless of where you're flying into.
Yeah, they're 82 years old. I
they
said,
have to
come get me.
pick you up at
I
the
said,
airport.
Mommy, come get me.
Come to Atlanta.
So after the 2 hour delay, 2
Nashville.
hours of circling Orlando, someone decides at some point they're going to invite a young passenger, invited by a flight attendant, to sing on the flight crew's intercom system.
Okay, so I want to know several things. How does the flight attendant know that this person sings? Like, what conversations are going on? How does it get brought up when they hand you the water? How do you have any conversation?
By the way, in case we have a problem, I can sing.
Well, this makes me feel like a dick, too, because no one ever pays any attention to me. No one's ever asked me how I was doing, except cut me off. No one's asked me how
Kick
I'm
you off
doing.
the plane.
Yeah, kicking me off the plane before we even get off the ground. But seriously, no one's ever asking me how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Now I feel like this. Now it feels like everyone else has got something going on that I don't have.
Maybe you need to start traveling with a ukulele or just something close by that lets people know you're ready to entertain.
Don't
if need
worry,
be.
I wear a tie with keys on it, like from a piano. All right, they know I'm a musician. All right, here we go.
No matter how hard I try, every turn I take, every trail I track, every path I make, every road leads back to the place I know where I cannot go, where I lost.
So what are we supposed to be doing on the plane while this is going on?
You're supposed to be paying rapt attention is what you're
Well,
supposed to be
because
doing.
the thing is you don't want the kid to feel bad. So it's like when you go to like a kindergarten or recital, you know, you want everyone to feel like they're doing a good job. So you can't heckle.
No.
But also you can't ignore it.
I know.
You're in a position where you can't, because you're a horrible person if you ignore her.
noise-canceling headphones that rid you of this.
But yeah,
That's
because
true.
you're a dick if you're not like
Yeah,
looking on
I know.
appreciatively. Like you have to have a look on your face like you're enjoying it.
And just, I think on Delta flights, if you're plugged in and you're watching, one of the Delta movies,
Oh, it stops it. Oh, yeah.
because they're on the intercom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you're watching a movie.
Oh, no, it says
no, you're
announcement-
hearing this. There's no
announcement
not
in
hearing
progress
it.
right in front of you.
Yeah, this isn't over some imaginary speaker. There's no not hearing this.
I know.
But then you can't even look at the person next to you in frustration because then you're a total dick. Even I, on that plane, am looking at her like, good job. This is great. Like, but that's the best point, is that you're 2 hours circling. You're probably even studying that map and just like looking for any way that we're getting any closer. Or you've somehow lost yourself in some form of entertainment and it cuts off. Or you fell asleep, like watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it ended. And so now it's just your headphones, and all of a sudden you hear...
See the line where the
And you're jerked awake, and then you look, and it's like, and you're like, "What the hell is playing?" And then you see it's a girl singing, and you got to go like, and then you got to immediately come to grips with it that I got to look on appreciatively while this happens.
That would be the worst.
one knows.
That would be the worst too. You're like me. You can't sleep on flights, and this is the one flight you've fallen asleep
Okay.
on, and you get woken up by this.
The only way that I could see this being reasonable is if this was an unattended child, like it was a child flying on her own, and she was freaking out because they hadn't landed and they were circling, and the flight attendant started, look at me making this into something nice. So the flight attendant's trying to calm her down, and the girl goes, and she's like, what do you like to do for fun? And she's like, well, I like to sing. And then they start talking about it, and she's like, would you like to sing for the plane? Then I would understand it. Mm-hmm. But if this girl is with a parent, no.
Well, in one of the photos, you can see someone standing close by, kind of with a stage mother vibe, you know, kind of watching and like, don't mess up this part. Don't.
I know every.
Yeah, it's not the greatest anyway. Let's put it this way. This is not, no Little Orphan Annie here.
So this is obviously gets posted a lot on social media. Other people are
because everyone whips out their cameras and starts taping it because it's a minor, and why not?
Right.
Put it up a minor singing on your Instagram page.
One person.
Hopefully, people will like it.
One person commented, "This is actually my worst nightmare and personal hell. No hate to the girl, but the parents, all caps, should know how to read a room."
Well, no hate to the girl. You don't think she's going to find out about any of this?
Not everything she.
No hate, little girl, but you suck. I hope you don't see this, but I'm putting it out for all to see, so Hardy in Boston can see this. You unnamed girl. Oh God, people are
See the
psychos.
line where the sky meets the sea.
Why are you taping it? If you're the mom, I guess you tape it and then take it as a cautionary tale. But if you're another passenger, you should. Wouldn't you think it's weird if the guy next to you started taping a little girl singing on the plane?
We were delayed by almost an hour and a half, 2 hours to even get on the plane. Tension's already high. People are pissed. They've missed connections, and some people just want to get home.
I even would let that go. I mean, you can't. That's something you can't say anything about. That's something that when you get off the plane, you tell your friends that it sucked.
What's beyond that line? Can I cross that line?
Yeah, it's not the greatest. How about this for a rule? Unless you're on one of the in-flight entertainment shows or movies, you're not allowed on the speaker. Like, so, because like if you were watching Rocky and Sylvester Stallone started singing on the loudspeaker, you'd be like, oh, look at that.
Hey.
He's here.
That's something you see every day.
Right.
Sure.
If Bill Nye the Science Guy was on and then he starts singing, you go, look at that. But other than that, you are not allowed.
So Newsweek reached out to Delta and said, hey,
yeah, what do you got to say for yourself?
What are you doing?
Why didn't they reach out to me? I'm a Diamond Medallion member.
The spokesperson said,
I get my own dedicated line.
We appreciate the customer sharing her talents and apologize to our customers for the delay in their travels. But they did not apologize for the performance.
If the wind in my sails on the sea stays be.
Do you think that if everyone was given Xanax before that or during the delay, that people would have reached out to the airline to complain?
No.
Or would have taped the girl?
No, they would have been feeling really good about themselves.
It's not even like a buzz. It's just like it takes away that like connection in your brain that causes panic. I don't want to, get everyone addicted to Xanax, but I'm telling you.
How far I'll go.
Look, it's a kid. What do you want out of me?
How old is this kid?
It's a kid. It doesn't matter.
Well,
it's a
different
kid.
if it's like 6 or 13. It's just different. I'm just wondering.
I don't know. Either way, you don't know what you're doing. Your brain's not fully formed. It's not her fault. It's not her fault at all. She didn't grab it like renegade style.
Right, that's right. I want to.
She did nothing wrong. That's why it's so incredibly cruel to tape her. Like, you understand what I'm saying? She did nothing wrong.
I would just be upset.
She's just some kid.
I would just be upset if I'd never seen Moana, and she's kind of ruining it for me. She's spoiling it because, I hadn't heard the song in the movie yet.
Well, when he referenced ukuleles, we had gotten the call from the guy that was flying from Hawaii to wherever on the continental United States. And as a gift before they took off, they handed everyone a ukulele.
Oh, that's
I remember
smart.
that. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
That's an actual really happened. They handed everyone a ukulele because it's fun, and so you gave everyone this instrument, and then they're coming back from Hawaii, and you're serving cocktails on an 8-hour flight, and everyone's got a ukulele in their hand.
I think
it's like Adam's heaven.
Long time ago. Do you remember when Eddie Vedder was doing his ukulele tour?
Yeah. I still got this ticket stubs.
I heard you say on the air that day, said, nothing shows you don't care for your audience more than showing up on stage charging $80 a ticket. Here, watch me plunk away on this thing that I picked up in the gift shop of the Honolulu airport.
Milo Ackerman is the singer for the Descendants, who are my favorite band of all time. I named my son after Milo Ackerman. I have a Descendants tattoo, which is essentially a drawing of his face. He has a EP of ukulele songs. I have listened to it no times. And I love Milo Ackerman. I love the Descendants. They're my favorite band of all time. I'm not listening to you play ukulele. No. Learn guitar. Like, I don't need you playing the ukulele. It's called like uke or something like that, but I've never heard it.
And if I weren't sure, and I was already sure about how I felt about it, when Amanda Palmer started posting videos years ago of her performing her ukulele songs, probably in Harvard Square,
Dresden
and then doing
Dolls?
Dresden Dolls.
I have no idea who that is.
And showing up and doing ukulele performances. Okay, well, now you're not even trying. You're crowdsourcing your band to begin with and asking people to show up and be your backing band for free. But now you're going to get up on stage and do ukulele concerts? No, that's not a real concert.
You expect more from the Dresden Dolls.
Amanda Palmer.
That Rock and Roll Rumble winners, yes.
Proud
the Rock and Roll Rumble. Till Tuesday was in that. Keep it down now.
Road Steamer got jobbed by Reverend Glasseye.
Big time.
Yeah, Reverend Glasseye were all right.
Peeping.
They had 3-part harmony.
They did now. Yeah,
it was like Ringo. Yeah, they did.
Still sucked.
You ask anybody in any of those shows that year who won the Rumble, it was Road Steamer.
Yeah, we had one band come out and be successful. We did it for 50 years, and we could only scrounge up one hit between all the bands. What a waste of time.
Did Till Tuesday win the Rumble?
They did. Yeah,
okay,
there you go. There it is.
Yeah, we did the. Oh, remember the BCN Rumble? Remember how it meant nothing in the end? That we discovered no talent.
No. The best part about the Rumble is that we would advertise it on BCN for a month, and no listeners would come to the Rumble.
Yeah, because it was all local music.
It was all the same community of local
It's for the
bands
scene.
showing up for the
you have your scene, and then that's why it's fun. And no one who's not in that scene is going to come unless it captures people's attention.
Hardy started at BCN in January of 2005. The Rumble
the beginning of the end
was in April. And he came to me one day. He goes, "Hey, they want me to judge one of the nights of the Rumble." I said, "Oh, we're gonna have a blast." I said, "Let's go. We'll do the same night. I'll kind of walk you through." So we go.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to figure it out on my own. I had 12 to hold my hand.
I had a chance to hang out.
Oh yeah, but you should have seen how Laquadera used to judge.
So
he would judge with his left hand.
Through the first,
because that's your creative side.
The first band plays and
right brain, left hand.
Yeah, when he was doing that dumb character, he was writing with his left hand.
Dwayne Glasgow.
Yeah, he would do hours and hours of that imitation, and it never one funny thing.
Did a full show on the
weekends, but for some reason, you idiots all scooped it up.
Dwayne Ingles Glasgow.
Yeah.
Peeping.
That's a challenge. Go listen to that on YouTube and find anything remotely interesting about it.
How dare you?
Hardy didn't like the Rumble.
Michigas. It was just those two guys talking crap.
Every Friday.
They gave them. It was 3 minutes of talking. It was it was revolutionary for the time.
Ken Shilton, the guy who replaced me, sat in studio 5 minutes early.
Yeah, you know what? They got to talk for 3 whole minutes about anything under the sun, and they had a name for it. And 20 minutes of it was advertising. Michigas. This freeform conversation is brought to you by raspberries,
strawberries.
Invest in us in 2001 and be out of money by 2002. Strawberries. We didn't foresee file sharing.
Not far off.
Strawberries for all your antiquated needs. And the guy who owned Strawberries thought he was like hot ass for like a long time.
They were everywhere for about 18 months.
And now everything's free.
That's right.
So except for Adam, who supports the bands on Bandcamp.
That's right.
That's his act of charity for people who make music for a living. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with your fabulous emails.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sport.
known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. You can reach us. Go to 985thesportshub.com and find our email addresses. We were going to do this thing because Blind Scott asked for my phone number where I was going to get a burner phone and give him that number. But Blind Scott emailed so much yesterday that I don't even want to do that. He might have emailed me 30 times yesterday. He loves the golf show, for what it's worth.
Yeah, he did not enjoy the Chris Wagner segment, though, and everyone else did. I got a lot of positive feedback about having Chris Wagner on yesterday. 2 segments.
Yeah, but those are just golf show yes men. I mean, you got that built-in audience that's just going to go with whatever you say. It's like that Rogan audience.
Not true. We had
everyone playing jiu-jitsu.
We had a spirited back and forth. But I got a lot of those same emails from Scott yesterday also.
Yeah. So I said I don't want to create this level of intimacy that even he thinks he has my phone number. So I'm throwing that idea out.
Yeah.
This is but this, I've went out an unprecedented 3 nights in a row to events, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I went out, and when I go out, people are thrilled. A real celebrity walks among them.
Yeah.
Everybody was thrilled? Everybody.
Well, it's a real celebrity. Their lives aren't often someone walks into them.
Well, they got a story now.
Yeah, now they got a story.
You'll never guess who I saw today.
Well, this is one of them. It says, hey, Fred, caught you Friday night at the block party show. I got to say, you were rocking some seriously fresh kicks. Didn't expect to be blinded by the footwear game while waiting for Helicopter to drop. Helicopter is a name of a song by Block Party. Figured I'd let you know your shoe game was louder than the monitor's respect. You looked like you were either about to intro a post-punk set or challenge someone to a dance battle in Cambridge Common. Anyway, if you end up doing a segment on rock shows where someone looked entirely too clean to be in the pit, feel free to reference yourself. Keep doing what you do. Mornings are always better with a little toucher phrasing, I know. And this is from Lucas, the guy that lives behind the new studio. Happy to call in if you want me to let listeners know you're a man of the people, which is what I want. I actually remember meeting him. He told me that he lived behind the station. And I said, oh,
nice.
I said, you're not Blind Scott. That's what I thought immediately. I said, when I saw the email, I said, this is one that's not from Blind Scott. So I read it as opposed to the other one. So we're all from Blind Scott.
Let's see how long we make it through this one. I think you'll like the way this email starts.
You better believe it.
Jason, the subject line is the effects of grounding, earthing, and inflammation, immune response, blah, blah, blah. Hello, boys. Don't get like you get until you hear me out.
I have one to follow up this one.
Okay, so I like his preamble.
All right.
I don't believe that grounding works at all in the sense Lifshatz, he misspelled his name, claims. I don't think walking on the lawn with your shoes off is a bad way to start the day, but when we all die of cancer, I assure you that a lack of walking barefoot will be nowhere on the list of preventative measures we wish we took. Consumers don't read white papers because they don't know where to find them. When they do, they find there are boring reads and filled with industry jargon, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you know what? No, this is what I'm getting at. Okay, now I have to get like I get. I don't know what you... Oh, he included a medical document here about earthing. Okay, well, I'm not going to read all that, Jason. Sorry to get like I get, but please.
I think I gave a pretty small parameter of what my issue with the grounding thing was. I gave it that it's certainly not a negative. I understood it as a spiritual or meditative situation where you feel grounded on the earth. Like grounded, you're like on the planet. You're part of a bigger organism. You are part of the universe. I'm giving you that. I'm talking about it making the molecular structure of your cells change. That's my only issue. Is that standing on the ground, all of a sudden your body goes, ooh, the ground, and it starts, forming and mutating and getting healthier.
Yeah.
Because that was my only issue. It was really one thing, which was not hard to refute. It just took one doctor, but unfortunately it took us 2 months to find him. Go ahead, John.
This from Sam, who emails a lot. Not to defend Dan, but I do say I encourage you guys to look into some of the concepts he's talking about. Now, do you want me to continue? So
you picked the email out of all the emails that come in over the weekend. This is the one you needed to read.
I'm not one to defend anything because I frankly don't care if people don't believe any of it. But without hyperbole, I'm probably in the top 1% of humanity as far as fitness levels go. I don't know why he didn't say it, but the main point of all of it is to cut out non-naturally occurring food.
Okay, fine. What's his problem with then? What did we say? We didn't say not to do that. Yes, you should eat processed food's bad for you. I understand. Why is he being argumentative? I never said it wasn't.
I don't know.
I just explained again. The only thing I had an issue with is if you take off your shoes and stand on the ground, your molecules change. That was it.
Yeah.
It's become a lot more complicated than that. I didn't say it was bad. I didn't say it couldn't have a spiritual or a meditative quality. And maybe it could calm you, which in turn would help your health. I just said it doesn't change
your molecules.
Yeah.
Full stop. Hey, Hardy, you're looking sharp today like every other day with your matching hats, hoodies, and sweatshirts. Does your wife pick out your outfits, or are you just a dapper? I'll have you know my wife pushes back on me being too matchy-match and saw my clothes laid out for today, and she said no to that, which made me
Put
say
them on.
Yes.
put them right on.
That's my mild
no
rebellion.
better motivator.
They're taking photos of us for a Boston Globe piece that's coming out
Yeah.
at an unknown date.
She wanted me to wear something else, and I said no.
So I've had the same sweatshirt on for 3 days because I thought they were taking pictures on Thursday because you can't overdress because then it will look like you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
So I had this on Thursday when the writer came in, and then I had it in on Friday, and then I have it on today because I just decided that this is what I was going to wear. It's not particularly my best item of clothing, but it's the one I feel I should be photographed in.
Sure.
We were talking about I went to the Dollar Oyster Night. It's been a real hullabaloo of a show. And he says, we were talking about some guy said, why didn't you get little neck clams? I said, I think that those are the value. Those are like kind of cheap. They wouldn't be even worth $1. This guy says little neck is the cheapest. I've been in the food business all my life and currently owner of a food trailer, and I work for a fish importer as a sales rep, and I love Hardy, but I strongly disagree with Hardy that 90% of fish is not the actual fish, at least in this area, and that's from James. Yeah,
I'm just telling you what the Globe article said. This is a couple of years ago, and maybe people have
or maybe your
gotten better with
memory has turned it into something it's not. Maybe the fallibility of your memory has changed it.
Perhaps maybe I need to change the molecules. All I know
Go
is
stand
that
in the dirt and think about it.
they took the fish from the restaurant, what it said it was on the menu, took it to a lab, analyzed it, and it wasn't the fish. That's all. You can find the article.
You mean at the sushi restaurants, you think that they're not being on the level with the tuna?
I think it would be tougher to do with sushi.
I think it would be very, very easy to do with sushi. I think it would
Really?
be incredibly easy to do in a roll. Yeah, just say something's a certain kind of tuna and put like a different kind of tuna in. No one would know the difference. No one would know. Salmon would be hard, but I guess you could dye some other fish orange.
It seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
Good morning, Hardy. I enjoyed your show with Chris Wagner this morning. This is yesterday. I got this email. Sports Hub Golf Club. I hated to hear that Shadow Creek costs $1,000 to play. Watching the LPGA match play at that course has been pretty exciting.
98.5 The Golf Club.
What time is that on?
7 a.m. Sunday mornings.
No, not the golf club. The women's PGA.
Oh, I don't know. The U.S. Open was on this weekend.
Yeah.
But that was
yeah, like tell me something I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know a Swedish woman won?
Yeah. First one since Annika Sorensen.
Wow.
She
Yeah.
went to Oklahoma State. This woman.
You know, it's not as cold there as it is here.
I think you need a 2-hour golf show. I love it when Toucher and you and others go off on a golf tangent. Maybe 20 real airtime minutes could be devoted to golf talk each week.
Yeah. It'd be a good way to not get the bonus. That pesky money.
Don't.
See?
If you're sick of money, we could do
Well,
that.
if that's going to be your attitude, then I would say no. We probably shouldn't.
This
do it.
Globe article is going to have a dramatically different tenor if we continue that, go down that road.
For some reason, they started talking
Engage the audience more, he says. Invite a call from people who can remember their most recent best and worst holes. Detailed talk
Jokes.
about grounding the club and how Jack Nicklaus never grounded a club. Is it true?
The truck stop off of exit 28B in Louisville, Kentucky. A marvelous hole.
No.
The anonymity is not, and someone was nice enough to duct tape the sides of it.
Not what he's talking about.
No.
Yeah.
Might as well be.
It's a Flying J in Boise, Idaho. Big truck stop.
This from Matt.
Plenty of action.
Don't let Fred pee in your cereal.
What?
You be happy.
Do it to me.
Scheffler won, celebrated on the air. Also, did you see his baby crapped all the way up its back? I'm sure you don't miss the diaper days. I didn't see the end of the tournament.
The photo, they handed him his...
Scheffler crapped himself?
The baby. His baby.
After he walked off, his wife handed him the kid, and there it was. The kid's back was to the camera, and there it was.
So you remember the diaper days? We all do.
Yeah.
Did you ever do this where you had a blowout in the back, and the onesie was such a total loss? There was one time, at least once, I just cut it off. Like a paramedic,
sure,
on the scene of an accident. I said, I don't want to take this up over the kid's head.
No,
I don't want to do anything. I literally had scissors and cut the thing off.
The ability to remember anything from when your children were that young is remarkable. Because I think genetically, I truly do believe this, but this is just my own theory. I'm not telling you to go stand on the ground. Is that you are genetically, we are made to not remember what it was like to have babies to further the species. Because if you did, and I'm not making a Cosby
have one
joke.
baby and be done.
I'm not making like an everybody loves Raymond joke. I truly believe this. Because if you think about it, how much can you actually remember from them being babies?
Fred, there is science backing this up. More for moms than for dads, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what they tell you.
Right, exactly.
But because I remember, and it's not a drinking thing or anything like that. I don't remember any of the bad stuff really, unless it was horrendous.
Yeah, you remember the really bad ones.
Well,
you were talking about
Kenny
blowouts on the Merritt Parkway where there's no parking in those dumbass gas stations to the right. And you need to
there'll be
change.
Isolated incidents that you remember. Like we were in Maine in that we were the gay part of Maine. That's the only way I know what it's called. Agunquit. And thank you, Adam. I was just baiting you to give me the name.
Go, Adam. Nicely
And so
done.
we were in Algonquin. And
Happy
anyway,
Pride Month.
Milo was going so crazy all night that we finally decided at 4:45 in the morning to just go home. And when we came out, the people in the room next to us, there was like an outdoor deck. They were sitting in the chairs of the outdoor deck at 4:45 in the morning. And to their credit, they did not say anything to us. And I felt awful. Because it didn't even... We were so wrapped up into it, it didn't occur to me wow, everyone's hearing this until at 4:30. I'm like, we gotta go. And that's the only thing I remember really about him being a baby.
Yeah.
Did you have any of that?
That's negative.
Did you have any of that with Zoe? Like any of those nightmare, had to cancel the trip, turn around, go
No.
home? That same thing with us, which leads me to believe that we as parents were doing it wrong with the first one.
Well, but...
Something. I don't know
but
what.
Milo
Doing
slept
something
in a
wrong.
crib and slept all night and was a good sleeper. And the minute we brought Zoe home, that ended. And we tried to get him a bed, and he didn't like that. And he slept on the floor of our room for about 6 months. And every month we'd take something away. You're not getting this pillow anymore. In order to get him to sleep in his bed.
Yeah.
Because I got rid of the crib. I bought a Cars bed. He was into cars, so I got Cars bed. I thought that would help. It didn't help. You want to sleep on the floor? Sleep in bed with us. Let him sleep in bed with us for a couple of days. All right, you got to sleep on the floor. Okay. And every move we made, he just was like, I don't care. As long as I don't have to sleep in bed because Zoe's here and I don't like it. I don't like that you brought another kid. And I remember feeling guilty when Milo met Zoe for the first time. I remember feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Like a tremendous sense of guilt.
But what did he do?
Oh, well, okay. When Zoe was still very, very young, let's say 2 weeks old, we went to this place in the old Atrium Mall to get him photographed. And the photographer said to Milo, because, the baby's just laying there on her back, said, why don't you, lay on top of her? So he got excited, and he was 2 years old, and he laid on top of her, and he turned with a smile and smacked her in the face. and then turned it back with a smile. He smiled at the camera, looked at her, smacked her, and then went back and smiled at the camera as she, screamed because he hit her. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show?
It's Ready?
It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what's going on?
Another beautiful weekend. Had a good inkling of what was going to happen, according to the forecast last week. And on Friday, the Globe had an article. It all went downhill after the first weekend in March. Since then, Boston has seen 11 rainy weekends in a row. This last one makes it 12, according to Globe lead meteorologist Ken Mahan, who has emailed the show and given us some tidbits, one of which was about the Red Sox chances in a year where there is a colder than average winter.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for that one, Ken. They're supposed to be winning the World Series this year.
Hey, season isn't over yet.
Yeah, based on the
Not
weather.
over yet. Only 2 months in.
All you have to do is get into the tournament.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's right.
This amount of
buy a ticket, take the ride.
This amount of rain is unusual, but not super uncommon. During a typical greater Boston spring, the weekends are rainy about 50% of the time. So 12 rainy weekends on one spring, which meteorologists peg at March 1st to May 31st.
They pegged? What? When is the pegging?
The problem is the variable weather pattern. Jet stream.
What?
He says it's been a pain in the neck. This is meteorological speak. So let me know if I'm talking
That's the
over
kind of
your
stream
head.
he's talking about, not the other kind.
Yes, jet stream. But weekend plans, college graduations, tea times, of course, all have been affected. And I think, based on what we're seeing so far, a little more rain maybe in the forecast for Friday, going into Saturday. I have graduation myself on Saturday to attend. And if it moves indoors, you only get 4 tickets per student. So, let's say mom, dad, grandmother. What about the other people who are supposed to
What about
attend?
grandmother's male friend?
Exactly.
Artie's mom's got a male travel companion.
That's right.
Nice.
Chuckles, as we call him.
Well, he's just going to have to hit the bricks. I mean, if there's 4, that's plenty.
But like from Marcy's side of the family, she has a couple of relatives traveling to town specifically for Katie's graduation. They're not going to be able to go if we have to move inside.
This is in Canton?
Yeah.
Is the gymnasium's not big enough to hold more people?
I don't.
It seems like the gymnasium is just a matter of how many people you want to put in it. It's not a matter of capacity.
Well, yeah.
How many kids are in the senior
of
class?
course there's a capacity in
How
a
many kids are in
gymnasium.
the senior class?
I don't know, 250 maybe?
Okay, 250 standing room. You pack them until they don't fit no more.
Yeah, I think there are fire codes about things like that they've especially follow in schools. Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like they wouldn't know the capacity because it's not like anyone's done it before.
They don't know the capacity?
How would they know the capacity? When has it
Because
ever been
when
tested?
they build the building, they say, okay, based on the size here and the seating and the exits, you can have this many people in this room safely, the end.
I never see them popping up on any basketball state lists or anything. There's no competition that seems to be happening there at any high level.
Hockey.
Well, that's not in the gymnasium.
What are you railing against? The size of the gymnasium or their lackluster performance in sports?
They go hand in hand.
I can't figure out which one you're.
They go. Why don't they? And do they have a hockey rink there?
No, school doesn't have its own hockey rink.
Oh, pish posh. They should. They could have a satellite location, so they could give you 4 tickets and then 4 tickets to another location. They could beam the graduation in.
You would think, but then you have to pay for that thing ahead of time. What if you don't use it?
AV club. It's just you just get. I'm being dead serious. You just get the AV club to set up a bunch of TVs in an area, and then you have broadcast the graduation.
No. You got to be there in person so you can whoop and holler and disrupt the ceremony when your kid goes across the stage.
No, you're told that you don't matter enough to sit in the same room. You got to go to this. It's like what they do with the Super Bowl to radio.
They make you sit in an ancillary room so you can watch the game on TV.
Or if you're in New Orleans, they put you in altogether a different building.
Different building. That's what I was told. Yeah. You can have a press pass. You won't be able to watch the game Oh, will I be in the basement of this? No, you'll be in a building next door watching the game on the TV set.
Was it 2019 the Bruins played the Blues?
Yes.
Jaffe was in like the basement of the Garden. I don't think Jaffe. If it wasn't Jaffe, it was someone else. Like they couldn't. They didn't even have room for him. It might not have been Jaffe, but yeah, they had people in the basement watching the game.
That's crazy
because they couldn't fit all the press in. And that's the most insulting thing is when if you got a press pass and they're like, you can go to the interviews, but you can't watch the game.
Right.
Here's a TV. Sit.
We were talking about TV shows that seem to run out of steam after a season or two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. True Detective Season 1. Have you watched it?
Yes. Brilliant.
Have you watched it?
Yes.
Matt?
For the sex scene alone.
Loved it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. The creator recently went on a podcast, said he has an idea for a new story that would bring back the characters of Rusty Cole and Marty, played by Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, and do a new version of a story based on those two guys and the story arc that they've already started. Now, that I would watch because True Detective Season 2, unwatchable.
I didn't even try.
It's
True Detective was like a movie that had an ending. And who cares where the characters go from there? It was just a movie with a good ending, which I figured out, by the way, episodes in advance. I knew that the guy mowing the lawn was the guy. I figured that out, and I have record of it. It's been on the record that I knew before
unless you wrote it down on a piece of paper and have time-stamped video and holding up a newspaper dated that day. I don't believe you.
Well, Blind Scott, I'm sure, or that other guy that has the website of with all the clips from me from Atlanta probably has it somewhere. I said it on the air. But the thing is, now you're just trying to make money. Like when you do a True Detective Season 2, there's no reason to do that except to make money. For instance, those characters aren't unique enough, or not the characters. The premise isn't unique enough to recreate over and over again. Like they did that with Fargo. Like they just keep the name Fargo and then completely change the show and people still follow it. I just don't know why.
I don't get it. I tried that. 12 told me to start watching
There's
Fargo.
a little bit of connective tissue from season to season.
I know, but I tried
enough to keep the name Fargo. They're not doing it because it's necessary artistically.
I would argue that is the reason. That the main reason they're doing it is because there is kind of this artistic approach that they take to every season, no matter what the characters of the content are. It has that vibe to it.
Write a new movie. Write a new show. Fargo was a great movie and a very good one season of television. Move on. Make your own. Tread your own way, and do it barefoot and live forever. That'll do the grounding.